Big up to W Bed. Big up the Truth. Big up KD. Man. We're back again. All right, and we should be live on Twitter, Twitch, and on YouTube's. Big up. W Bed said thanks for a great show last night. You're more than welcome. Thanks for being a good listener. Kaan Ali says Dan is back. Yeah, I'm back with Mr. Amarrz as well. Would you believe it? Me and Mr. Amarrz. Yeah, we're doing the damn thing at the moment, man. We're just holding the stream down until TYO comes back. Just going to do a couple little run-ins. Big shouts out to BuddaBing. Locked in. I see you, bruv. Big up yourself every time. Yeah, man, big up KD. Lurking, but ever present still. You should be in a back chat, KD, to be honest, but I don't know what happened there. You may have left it. But big up the crew anyway. How is Sahara? Sarah Sahara are you talking about? Not seen her in ages. Big up Veli, big up G Block, man. G Block, D Block connection. Big up them, man, there, yeah? Big up Victor Renz as well. Big up, yeah, man, big up the full crew, man. Yeah, so what? We've got, well, it's me and Amarrz. Amarrz is holding me down on the panel at the moment. He's got a couple things he wants to say about Sir Faz, I believe. I don't know if you want to just touch down and just let the people give them a little preview of the pre-debate.
Well, basically, it's madness in the dunya, as the people say on the speakers corner. It's madness. The Almighty has exposed a few people for their blasphemy. Some hypocrites have been exposed. We'll be revealing the names shortly and naming and shaming them, hopefully bringing them back to the light. And also for all the women out there, big up all the women, all the mothers, all the sisters and all the daughters. What we're doing here right now is we're starting a campaign for saving our Bengali sisters. The women of Bangladesh being oppressed by the shameless...
no disrespect. Big up to Sixth Form AC and big up to Ultra Funky just jumped on the panel. Amarrz is on full troll mode. But we're not really on that nationalist thing, to be fair.
No, nothing nationalist. So basically, we're starting a petition. So all the females who want to voice their opinions and help our sisters in trouble and get them out of that rut. Then more than welcome. Details we should be following very soon. So yeah, here we go. We're here on Dan's channel. Ultra Funky just arrived. You know what I mean? The main bus driving troll going in speakers corner. What we're saying, and the expose of the hypocrites and also Sir Faz has promised to debate me, and we are waiting for him for pre-debate conditions to be done here on Dan's channel. It's only fair.
Amarrz, what are you debating Faz on?
It's just on something that we need to address the issue. We'll find out. You'll find out. You can't reveal everything on Dan's show. It's best that we do on Dan's show because Dan is neutral. He's not for or against any of the notions. So it's best to be, or even yourself, Funky, if you want to moderate. So we're waiting for Sir Faz now to discuss pre-debate conditions.
Yeah, man. Big up all the ordained ministers out there, man. I know I'm the only man with one of them on my panel at the moment, so big up to me, yeah. That's what I'm gonna say.
Come on.
Big up the Ultra Funky one, man.
Gee. Let's go. Big up
the Ultra Funky one, man. And hey, listen, who said that Ultra Funky was an atheist? Yeah, that man's got belief. I'm telling you, yeah. He's locked in certain times at some mad hours. Aye, Sir Faz. Sorry, Sir Faz. I'm sorry, Ultra. I was bigging you up then, but Sir Faz just cut that. So what's going on, Sir Faz? Mr. Amarrz wants to chat to you, bro.
Oh, listen, man, listen. I don't talk to people that get slapped by 21-year-old little girls, okay? Listen, don't open your mouth, Amarrz, shut it, right? You went on to Spanish in this channel, and you got slapped by a tranny, okay? That's one thing. Second, yesterday, Zubaydah absolutely wiped the floor, wiped her ass with you, and rolled it up again. So don't come to me with a debate anyway, okay? And don't talk about Bengali women that you said you were talking about rape and everything, about Pakistani men raping Bengali women, you little imbecile, yeah? Okay? So stop your grooming as well. Chill out, right? And I'm not debating you because you're just a little piece of shit. That you're not even worth even me talking to anyway, all right? So I just wanted to tell you, don't call my name out again. Anyway, big up, guys. Big up to Dan's channel. Everybody like and subscribe. Big up Dan, definitely.
Okay,
Ultra.
so
See you later.
again, yeah,
Bye-bye.
Dan,
Bye-bye.
Big up yourself, sir. That's really quick and
okay, Dan.
quick and precise.
Okay,
So-
Dan, did you, Dan,
Yes, big up
Yeah.
Dan, big up Sir.
Bless
Fab,
up,
big
bless up, Buddha.
Ultra. Big up.
yeah, big up, I'm on the panels right now, bigging me up, blood.
Now you always cuss me, so there's no point in bigging you up.
Fuck you then, I'm joking. Anyway, Dan, what I was saying to you, see the way your man come, he's been promising he wants to debate with me. He's been saying about the celebrations that I do is haram and this, that, the other. And the way he spoke, as you see,
Yo, Buddha, don't big this.
I'm
Don't big this
talking-
guy.
it's
Yeah?
very-
This
Dan,
guy, right, talks about people getting raped, yeah, and he's happy with it, yeah.
This,
Okay.
please.
Okay,
But-
no, you don't get no etiquette, yeah.
I
You're
can
a low life little scum, yeah. You know,
yeah, like he's because you,
you're part of that little grooming gang from Kashmir, innit? Yeah, calm
low
down,
IQ.
meat putty boy. Shut up, meat putty boy.
I'm
Yeah,
not-
you got slapped up by Zubaydah, and you called a truce with her now. Oh, Zubaydah, don't slap
Okay.
me. Don't slap me. She slapped you left, right, and
Um,
center, right? And by the way, yeah, stop crying and happy
I'm not
Maulid
crying,
Day,
it's
yeah. You should be doing Maulid, by the way, yeah, so don't do it.
You're supposed to be a grown man. You're showing yourself up. You
You,
can't have a decent conversation.
yeah,
There
okay.
you go.
You had a decent conversation, Mr. Amarrz.
Lives-
Yeah,
I'm-
yeah, okay.
I'm
Anyway,
supposed to-
Big up,
the- the-
big up,
the-
Buddha. Anyway, Amarrz, shut up, man.
the one is great.
Amarz, shut
I'm
up.
the-
When I'm
the-
talking,
you promised to debate me
Amarrz,
tomorrow at 8
shut
o'clock.
All right.
Shut up.
Debate me
All right.
tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Calm down. Let me speak to Buddha. Big
I'm
up, Buddha.
speaking to Dan. Excuse me, I'm speaking to Dan. You butted
Big up
in.
Sir.
yeah,
Fab,
yeah.
big up every time.
Yeah, please,
Dan,
yeah, and
Dan,
tell him, yeah, not
Dan,
to
we're
talk
not
about
speaking
people
to you,
getting
so
raped,
what's
yeah. Buddha, tell him not to talk about people getting raped, please, yeah. It's not
Bro,
good.
I can't really talk to Amarrz, man, because it's a waste of my time.
I know it is.
Okay, the way asking for. So anyway, cut a long story short, let's save the Bengali sisters who are getting oppressed and getting
Yo.
used as prostitutes.
Big
You
up,
know what I mean?
listen,
Big
big up the Bengalis, yeah. Big up the whole of the South Asian continent. Big up the whhole world if you want to be precise. But yeah, none of this. And you know what? Today is the day that people, no matter what your position is on war, on conflict and violence, today is, I suppose, the one day that we're supposed to remember. Did anybody observe any of the like, television coverage or anything? Did anyone go to anyone see anything?
I was silent apart from my snoring because I was asleep. I had a little siesta. So, yeah, it's one of those ones. Did you buy a poppy this year, Dad?
Do you know what? I donate. Do you know? I do the same thing with that I do with a big issue. I don't buy a poppy, but I'll donate. I'll put money in the jar. You see what I'm saying?
Every time I buy a poppy, it doesn't last more than about 3 hours. I end up losing it, or
I've bought
a couple of quid. That's about it.
I've bought a poppy before, so I bought one. I suppose I've done that, and I've probably got it somewhere. I don't really throw things away, but yeah. Again, the same thing I do with a big issue. If a man's there to try and sell a poppy, then just take my money and then double up off that one poppy. You just made like 2 sales off that.
Do you know what, Dan? Can I just ask you a question?
Yo.
What's the significance of the poppy? Like, I've never. I mean, it's been explained to me before.
Good
but
question.
I've never been able to understand the significance between the day and the poppy flower.
I think poppies, they're red, they're black as well. So I suppose there's like a symbology sort of there. But I think also they grow very quickly, very rapidly.
Do you know what it is? You remember Arnhem?
I think.
You won't remember Arnhem, but
Google it. Oh, fucking Google it.
From what I remember.
No. The thing is, if I'm honest with you, I think I already know, but I'm waiting to find out if anybody else is on the same wavelength I am.
So, basically, in Arnhem, when the war
happened with
was over, in the field...
Hold on, Amarrz, respect, man.
I was talking to Ultra Funky, man.
Yeah, I know, but Buddha was about to explain.
Buddha started interrupting. Yeah, but sorry, carry on.
So yeah, so in Arnhem, where the soldiers died, after years went past, poppies started to grow there. So that's what I remember from that. So that was adopted as the symbol of death, well, not death, but remembrance.
Lister, yeah. I think everyone's kind of chiming in with the same stuff. Poppies grew in the battlefields. This is said the poppies grew on Flanders Field, where the battlefield was. Check out the war poem, mate. I love World War One poetry. World War One poetry is the lick, man. Yo, if another dickhead with my name shows up and he doesn't have a spanner, just hide him on his channel. Yeah, man, 100%. Celebrity crew around here. Insecure, man. Don't worry about that. Big up to Super Clown. Big up Sarah, man. Big up the people who just locked. Big up Miss Gadite. Yeah, at the moment we're discussing Remembrance Sunday. Yeah, I had family members who served in World War One and survived, and also wrote about their experiences. I think is a privilege. You know, not everyone manages to get back without shell shock and limbs missing and that stuff. So, boy, yeah, I'm gonna go and find the poem that Lister. I've got another poem to read afterwards, but yeah, man. Big up the people locked. Big up to Buddha. Big up Amarrz. Big up to Ultra Funky.
Every time.
How you mean, man? All right, give me two.
That's why on Sunday.
G block.
E block.
Listen, while there's an awkward silence, let me just shout out all the atheists and the non-atheists alike.
Yes, big up the non-atheists.
Yeah, because do you know why? Like, although we got different ideological stands, like we're all the fucking same. However, the one set of people I'm never gonna start to big up are all the wankers that use iPhones. Yeah, every single one of you go fuck yourself. Every single one of you can go fuck yourselves.
Don't be racist.
Pick up the Androids.
Yeah.
Pick up the Androids.
Yeah, all you iPhone wankers.
Shut your noise.
Can go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
Every single one of you.
Yeah.
I don't trust you. I don't want to build with you. I don't want to be your friend.
That's fine.
You can just fuck off.
I'll slap you with my iPad. How about that?
Huh?
I'll slap you with my iPad. How about that?
No, but that's all you have. The iPhone's shit anyway.
Shut your noise.
It will smash on impact. It won't do any damage to me.
Yeah, whatever.
Ah! Fucking hell. Listen, people, treat yourself. Christmas is coming. Like, if you got an iPhone, make your life better. Get rid of it. Just put it in the bin and then upgrade. Come over.
Yeah, get a Samsung phone.
Get a Huawei. Get a Huawei. Get a Huawei. Android all the way. Anyway, where's Dan gone?
Right, I'm searching. Yeah, big up whoever said Wilfred Owen. I think I am looking for a Wilfred Owen poem still.
Yo, BuddaBing and Ultra, have you heard the latest about the blasphemy of the so-called Dawa team on the Hangouts?
No.
No?
Big news.
I don't get out much.
Oh, neither do I. But fuck you out. You get heard?
No.
No. Okay. Well.
So first of all,
what's the story? Tell us.
Who is the Dawa team? Tell us.
Okay, but I'm not saying there's no Dawa team. They're just an expression, yeah. But so-called people that claim to be Muslim are Muslim, and I mean, always try to defend. In speech marks the honor of the religion in whatever way they think that they are doing it, or I don't know. But one individual has called the event of the birth of Prophet Muhammad a biryani sex day. And
what?
Yes.
Amarrz, you're talking shit now. Come on, bro.
I swear on my mum's life, I'm not lying. Yeah, may the wrath of God, if I invoke the wrath of God if I'm lying. And another one individual on the name of Muhammad written on a sticker, the name of Muhammad, the guy stuck a finger at it and said, "Fuck this shirk." Yeah.
What? So wait, you're saying somebody from the Speaker's Corners Dawa squad, somebody who gives the middle finger up to the picture of the Prophet. That doesn't make sense to me. You're not making sense.
Not the picture, the name written on the picture of a name, the name of Prophet Muhammad. It says Muhammad in Arabic. It's still saying not from Speaker's Corner. The guys from these hangout streams.
Oh, well,
Two people have been exposed. One calling the event of the birth of Prophet Muhammad a sex biryani day, and the other one sticking a finger at the name, written name of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, while him and his friends are eating haram chicken from McDonald's.
what? Amarrz, have you got a cold? Are you okay? Like, do you need night nurse or something?
Nah, I've got the names, I've got the deleals, I've got the names. I'm the eyewitness for both of them.
What?
Yes.
Fuck's sake, people are just getting crazy. There's something in the water, you know,
I'm
because
telling
everyone's
you,
just
I'm
going
telling you.
crazy. Everyone's just going crazy. The
I've got-
only sane person is me. That's because I don't drink tap water.
Hey,
All right, hold
I'm
on.
telling
Let
you.
me just read out. I got a request from Lister for this poem from Wilfred Owen. Just let me read this out quick. In Flanders fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, the mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amidst the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, poppies grow. Big up to the people who sacrificed, man. Yeah,
I agree with that 100%.
Whatever,
Like, people that sacrifice so I could be here, I rate you.
100%. And that's to say nothing of the politics, because it's bigger than
No,
politics.
fuck that. You know why? Politics aside for just a second, imagine the sacrifices made, right, and has allowed us to be here to even talk about it at this very moment.
100.
And even though I don't have a God, I'm so happy to be alive. And if I owe that to the people sacrifices that came before me, then more power. Every time. Come on.
Big up the people who went over big up the people who put their head over the parapet. Yeah, man. Whatever risks that them people took. Yeah, man, I had a friend of mine the other day, actually. He was leading a parade. Leading a Remembrance parade today, actually. I was supposed to buck him. But yeah, he was but they don't, most of them, they don't really care about soldiers, and they're less sort of focused on the political stuff.
back in 5 minutes, boys.
It's their friends, you know, their mates, the people that they sort of worked alongside and whatever else, and it's all random, innit? Like if one of your mates from school dies or something. I had a really interesting conversation with a Polish guy, and this Polish guy, I don't know, I'll let the panel know what his contention was, but he said that during World War II, his family, who I think they had to hide from, he said they hid Germans and they had to hide from Russians. And my mind was blown by that, because apparently, he said when his grandma, great grandma, or whatever, remembers Germans when they first invaded Poland. And apparently, when they first invaded Poland, initially there was no like rape or torture. I mean, I don't know if that's actually true. This is like saying sort of grandma's memory, whatever. But apparently, things really changed when the Russians invaded, like fight back against German. That's when you had to like hide your grandma and like hide like kids. Kids would get killed, women would get raped, military age men would get lined up and put in a ditch somewhere. And the Polish were actually hiding German soldiers. So I don't know. War is sort of one of those. Nothing's necessarily as clear cut in, or as some people Whereas history sometimes records it. People record things differently. Victor Renz, you said on both sides. That's a good debate. What were you talking about, man? I don't know what you're talking about. So messed up microphone. A big up ABC test. Yep, hid from Germans and... Who are you talking about? I don't actually know if we're live. Alright, big up anyway. Hang on, Stephen. Finally pissed off Feli. Oi, Kaan. James Jones inside. Big up Abu Bilal. Big up to Counter 708. Big up ABC Test. Big up Gain Knowledge Wherever. Big up Super Clown. Big up to Bunga Bunga Party. They would kill and rape lots of children. Kind of read my message at the top. Dan, big up yourself. Big up to Quantum Movement. Woodorf. I feel sorry for the soldiers who died for. I should have died now. Yeah. What does everyone on the panel think of that? Any thoughts on that? That World War One was sort of distinct from World War Two, died to protect aristocrats.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's the same. It's the same today. You've got guys serving in the military, while the politicians sit back and chat holy for shit, while the soldiers then die. So it's no different today, man. And it's in every country. It's not just in one country. It's in all the countries. Mad thing.
That's the sad thing. Gain Knowledge. If you want to jump on, you're welcome to jump on. We could do a bit of a historical one. Lister, I think you should be in the back chat. Yeah, man.
Big up Gain Knowledge.
Big up Gain Knowledge. Big up the people.
Big up the whole YouTube chat, same way.
Yeah, you see this. I don't know. I got respect for soldiers. I just think that soldiers should kind of be risking as much as their, I don't know, as much as their leader, like, as much as, I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? If you say you're going to be the leader, you're going to be the, you're going to be the general.
You're just saying a poem there. There's another poem, and it goes something like this. It goes, mine is not to, Mine is not to question why, mine is to do or die. And I think that is kind of like symbolic of the mentality of a soldier, isn't it?
It's not to question why, yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? He's got a job, he or she has a job, and they just take their orders and off they go. You know what I mean? They're foot soldiers. It's the above that wage war in the first place, that declare war, that invade countries. And I find it an affront for them to even wear the poppy. When I look at Parliament, I see all them MPs wearing poppies and shit like that. I'm thinking, it is people like you, your forefathers before you, that are responsible for these fields of poppies, these fields of death. Do you understand? The amount of money you put into fucking weaponry and military, it's mad. It's mad. I mean, if you took 2% of the military budget for the UK, do you think pensioners would be fucking freezing to death in winter? You know what I'm saying?
100%.
2%.
100%.
It's you fight a war while your civilians die. What's the point in fighting a war? Shouldn't we look after the civilians first? They don't. All of this shit. It's just fucked up. It's just fucked up. Wage war on countries for no reason, apart from getting their wealth, getting the land and the resources. Fuck that, man. Not in our name. Remember that was a slogan. I can't remember where that was a slogan from.
Yes.
It was not in our name.
Boy, Jordan M is in the chat. Big up yourself. Poland was given to the Russians after World War II. Let's see what Egypt said. Sorry, ABC. Polish, when they were invaded, Warsaw was decimated. The Russians and Germans screwed them over. UK, USA done too after World War II. Without Polish pilots, UK would have been effed. Yo, this is exactly what my man said. He was telling me about this this air unit called, I think they were called the 303 Division or something. Yo, this, apparently they got like the most direct hits on like enemy pilots. 16 squadrons that served with the RAF in the Battle of Britain, and they just went in.
There was a Sikh division as well, if I'm not mistaken. There was a Sikh division. There was, well, I won't say Sikh, I won't say Indian. There was an Indian division. In fact, one of my friends, her dad was a RAF in the Second World War.
Bruv, imagine how the conversation with this guy came out. Do you know what I said? I said to him, I was like, yo, I said, he was a bit drunk or whatever, and he sort of muttered something, and I said, wait, I said, where's that accent from? Where are you from? He said, Poland. I said, I big up the Polish, man. I said, it's Remembrance Sunday today. Not a lot of people sort of ever remember the Polish kind of. I big up to AC, man. Respect yourself. He said, and then he started telling me the story. Told me about like his grandma and stuff, and told me about the 303 squadron. And
was he Jewish? Do you know?
He may well have been. He may well have been, but it wasn't something. It wasn't something that he put out there. I mean, that wasn't like, you know, and I kind of respect that. A man doesn't need to get into the identity politics and that. This is what my history was. This is what happened, and boom. That's the big up the Polish. So yeah, man, respect to the Polish, man. Respect to the people who risk their lives for.
But you know what? Paradoxically, Dan.
For freedoms people don't even realise they have. Yeah, big up them people. Sorry, what were you saying?
Paradoxically, you know what? Poland is one of them hotbeds for neo-Nazism today, in this time we live in now. And that is the biggest irony. It's like you fought a world war to get rid of all of these Nazis when they took over your country and ghettoized it. Ghetto at its ultimate meaning. And now you're becoming neo-Nazis and you got pictures of Adolf Hitler and swastikas and all this kind of shit.
Yeah, but then when you check it out, I think it's like what my man said, ABC test said. They got snaked by everyone. They got snaked by every single person. So it's like, you know, to sort of some people, well, who's the first snake? What was the first snake? Just go back to that snake, innit? And I don't know, you know, some people
emulate them and fucking.
What do they say? They say it's better the enemy that you know, or something.
Better enemy you know than the one you don't. But then you become the enemy. It's like knowing your enemy and becoming your enemy is a mad thing. It's like, you know, it's like I don't know. It's a mad thing.
100%, but
it's like a slave becoming a slave master.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. But then I feel like, whoa, either that's the cycle of things, or that, well, I mean, things always change. Nothing sort of stays static. But what's going on? W. Riles, when are you going to address Spac Nation? Those thieving Nigerian fraudsters, vulnerable and those, or will you swerve the issue convenient to your narrative? I think I've chatted about Spac Nation before still. But yeah, if you want to jump on the panel and chat about it, you can. We were just talking about the war actually, so I think we're going to roll with that for a little while. I'm not sure what my narrative is tonight. But it's a day that people remember war dead, so I was discussing war. You want to talk about war?
Yeah, Dad, I've got a question. Does anyone know how the First World War started? I mean, who were the main conflicts, and what was the main? Who were the main countries, and what were the warring about?
What's his name? Gavrilo. Well, people say it was Gavrilo Princip. Was he a Serbian?
Sarajevo.
Yeah, Bosnian.
The assassination
of Franz Ferdinand. Yeah. Gavrilo Princip.
But there was a lot rolling up to that to begin with. I think that was like there's a lot of precursor to that. So
yeah. I mean, the fact that there was an arms race going on basically everyone wanted to test out their weapons at the same time. Everyone wanted to you know, your next door neighbor is pushing some insane, overly engineered, overly armored, overly weaponized kind of chunk of iron, and it's moving on water. And the British were able to essentially subjugate the Chinese just by rolling a massive ship up their river, up the interior rivers, and then they could. That was gunboat diplomacy, the original style. So what happens? What happens?
The German Uber tanks, whatever, they were massive in it. The Uber tanks.
Well, yeah, some of the stuff that the Germans were coming with towards the end of the war was crazy.
I've heard that the technology the Germans got, they're still filtering through now. I mean, they have released everything through now to mainstream. They're still filtering through. You can see it through the cars. They're the leaders in all the freaking car manufacturers. You know what I mean? They're getting it. You know what I mean? They've got all the best cars.
Huh? I didn't understand that. Are you talking about like Mercedes now? Yeah?
Mercedes, BMW, Porsche.
Yeah, but so was Japan. Japan was the same.
Yeah, I was
thing.
Gonna say Japan. Yeah.
But Japan's not doing it in the Western world as much as Germany is. Audi, Volkswagen, all the cars that they come out with. Come on, fam. Even the black dude,
VW, Porsche.
Yeah, VW, Volkswagen, yeah, Porsche as well. Yeah, everything's there, fam. You get me? You can't mess with the Germans. The Germans, bro.
The Germans.
The Germans.
Historically started by assassination of Hungarian emperor. The German Kaiser didn't like it yet. That's correct, gain knowledge. First World War trench warfare was brutal, long drawn out war. Yeah, man, for some people turned up, they were like 14, they lied about their age, and they rock up, they get given their uniform, they get pushed out in a quick little parade around their barracks or whatever, and then they put on a train. They get hit by a shell, an hour of getting onto the battlefield.
Churchill and Hitler served in the First World War, yeah?
Yes.
Chlorine gas was used in the trenches. It's because of the trench warfare. Chlorine gas was, gas as a weapon was outlawed under the Geneva Convention after the First World War. Such was its devastation. I heard a mad thing today. You know why Hitler had that mad moustache?
Which one?
Adolf had a.
Oh, you mean his little
toothbrush? They call it. Toothbrush.
He had it. Did he have it during World War?
Chaplin one. The Chaplin moustache.
So Chaplin moustache. So basically, apparently, one of his friends that served with him. Again, this is alleged. One of the guys that served with him said that Hitler used to have a big, like the RAF type moustache, but he couldn't get his gas mask on, so he shaved it down. So that's why he got that toothbrush moustache, allegedly, so he could get his gas mask on.
Interesting. Raj, welcome to the panel, man. We're talking about. I think you're still on your good behaviour. We're talking about World War One, or just war in general. Got any thoughts? It's like someone mentioned. I don't know if you know much about like Sikh contribution, like war efforts, World War One. Touch on any of that, but some cool footage.
How you doing, Dan? Not heard.
I'm good,
from you
man.
From a while.
Yeah, good, man.
To everybody, I'm on good behaviour this week, at least until Wednesday or Thursday, because it's the 550th anniversary. Well, the birthday of Good Night DFG. So I'm being very well behaved. Going Birmingham tomorrow for 2 days.
I'll see you there.
And, I'll be walking about, doing my thing.
I'll see you there.
I'll be doing my thing. No one's gonna go next to me. Everyone's gonna be shook. You know how it normally works. I'll be by myself as well. So.
Wanna come with your mate Deepa?
Gonna go totally by myself. Yeah. So today was I don't know. Later on, I'll jump on later when there's more people because there was the Kartarpur corridor. Dan.
I've not heard of this.
Yeah, but I can explain it later. We'll talk about World War, but it's an important kind of a time for Sikhs at the moment because there's something that happened yesterday, and
What
for the
happened
first
yesterday?
time, I will say big up Imran Khan. You're not going to hear that very often.
I've heard you say big up Imran.
Yeah, only once or twice when he's done good, but I think this is an important step in the kind of relationship between India and. It's hard to explain at the moment, so I'll talk about it later. If you're how long is your stream going on for?
Definitely, be on for a while.
All right, so if you're still on about 12, because I can only stay on for half an hour, then I'll talk about it.
Yeah, no worries.
So what did you ask me?
Yeah, we're talking about Sikh contribution in general. Yeah, you can touch that. You can go into that in depth later if you want.
I can tell you that the biggest volunteer army was from the Indian subcontinent. They weren't conscripted.
Yeah. Okay.
Amarrz, so you'd know that as well then. So have you got any family who served in?
All of them went voluntarily.
No, voluntarily. I mean, obviously, my family didn't serve the British armies, even when the British were in power. My families, alhamdulillah, they've come from good ancestral lands, and you know, I mean, they've got a lot of inheritance.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I'm being
very
good.
rude, Raj. I'm talking to Dan, man.
I know, and I'm being good. I was about to start ranting. But no, I'm in pious mode, religious mode today.
Are you in religious mode? Okay, well done.
Yeah,
Try to adopt.
Yeah, no, I don't know how long it's gonna last because I got like Tourette's. I feel like shouting.
Okay, well, I think you got a bit more than Tourette's, but you know, that's another issue altogether. We need to, you know, I mean, I don't think the doctors have diagnosed that yet, have they?
Don't. I was about to swear at you, man.
I'm gonna try and provoke you without using profanity.
Don't worry. I will slip up sometimes, but it won't be the ferocity of the Rajanator. It will just be more like Padida. That's it. No.
Oh, you swore.
That's it. I didn't say I wasn't gonna swear. I'm just saying that I'm gonna try my best not to.
On the staircase.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm going to try my best not to.
Respect for your gurus, man.
I'm going to try my best not to. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. Now, it's not today is not the actual birthday. It's on Tuesday.
Don't go on like an enemy of Sikhism.
Keep it correct, Amarrz.
All right. So where have you been, Dan? Then
I've been enjoying playing music and stuff. You know what it is? Like I like people. I do like people. I am a misanthrope. I like people when they don't talk sometimes as well. So when people are listening to music, like if I'm in a room with people and we're listening to music, right? I don't have to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things about people mistake about people. If I don't want you to come around my house, then don't come around my house. If I don't want you to phone me, don't phone me. Just stick to my rules. And we can have a good friendship. Like I've got one or two people that are like that, and they know the boundaries. Just don't cross those boundaries, and we're fine. If you start encroaching on those boundaries, I start getting pissed off. Like we start ring, and all that kind of shit. Yeah, I don't like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind company.
The undertones, the racist undertones, like everyone keeps emphasizing on ing, what you're doing, and it's balancing, and
but ding ding.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about your English friends or your non-Sikh friends when they want to try to take the piss out of you? Do they use them kind of tactics, like emphasize on any words that have got ing in there? Have you experienced that in the workplace?
You've been talking and listening.
Odd.
Quite a bit more of that, more thinking.
What did you say?
Twice as much listening as speaking.
Okay, Dan, I just got a knock on the door. I need to go downstairs because it's religious.
What are you doing, man?
We're watching the Kartarpur corridor footage and all the footage of going into. I might go Pakistan next year. Can you believe it?
How am I spelling that?
I've sent you videos in the back chat.
You go Pakistan.
So I might go Pakistan next year. Could you imagine that?
Everywhere, the ISI and the Pakistani.
I'm gonna be walking about like I did in Green Street. There ain't gonna be no big odds there. I'm like, yeah, where? So I'm actually seriously thinking I want to go Amritsar in February because they're doing a direct flight from Stansted. Of course they would. I actually no. Actually, I might not get in. Actually, you're right because I'm actually support Khalistan, so I might be on the hit list.
You serious,
Yeah.
Raj?
Yeah. The Indian government's very stringent, and I've done lots of videos on
Raj,
YouTube.
what happened to your mate from Sikh? Used Deepa and his sister. They were getting done for some fraud. They got away with it, or
I don't know. After he's not my mate. I hardly know the guy.
I was
I've
just
only
about
met
to
him
say that.
twice.
Do you get them to come after me? Apparently, once upon a time.
I don't even know who you are. How am I going to tell them to go? I don't know what your name is or anything. How do I know? I don't know. I don't really keep it. I've got his number. He calls me once in a while if he wants artwork done. That's it. I don't really know him that well.
I heard he's a drug dealer. This is why you get some information.
All right. So the thing is, sometimes have you ever met
some information, man, Raj.
All right. So have you ever met a Muslim that used to have a bad past, and then when they become Muslim, they still have a bit of that ghetto in them?
No.
Right. So you've not met any of these guys, like people from prison.
Not any of them who are responsible for charities. And
I'm saying that the guy used to. If you look at photos of him when he was like just 10 years, he didn't even wear a turban. He's tattooed up and everything. And he had a bad past. I'm not going to say exactly what he did.
I'll tell you something happened recently. What happened? Yeah, he was in a pub and he tried to give the big one to somebody, and that guy was a bit of a boxer or something, and he kicked the fuck out of him and knocked him out. What is your religion?
I'm not getting involved. I just know it was a Sikh on Sikh thing, so I'm not getting involved, man.
And what you don't know, the pure veggie's daughter, when they come, they rolled up on him, 30 of these boys.
I'm not getting involved in that shit, man. I know what happened, but I'm not speaking about
All
it.
right. Let's try and I think.
Yeah. So what it is, I'll go if you can. I'll send some info in the back about the Qatar because it's actually quite an important thing. It's the first time Sikhs have been able to travel to the second most religious site quite freely because it went into Pakistan. You know when the border was put up.
Yeah.
And so in order to get there, usually you'd have to get a visa. You'd have to travel 100 miles. You have to go to Lahore. You could imagine going to Birmingham, but you have to travel to Scotland first. Do you understand? It's like a long track. Now you can get there in 3 miles without a visa, without a passport. So you can literally walk 3 miles, or you can go by car. So that's quite without a visa. So yeah, it's quite an important day. Or yesterday. That's why I'm being kind to the Pakistanis for once.
Big up, man.
The Pakistanis are getting some love. Take the love from it.
Raj, do you know what happened? You guys ended up paying the jizya. That's why you opened it up.
No, we don't have no. There's no actual. You're not getting charged anything. They tried. No, what it is, Imran Khan tried, and Imran Khan tried. So I phoned him and said, "I ain't paying that bullshit jizya. I'm mad." And he took it away.
Yo, you saying that it can cause that Qatar crossing to close?
Don't worry.
I'll record it.
That's how powerful you think I am, yeah. So I'm going. I'll be back in like an hour or something. Yeah, I'll come back, and I'm going to even be civil with TYO. Yeah,
and I think you lot can get some.
No, this is more than just personal. This is more than personal beef. So I'll talk even if I don't. And it is kind of fitting that India and Pakistan, who are sworn enemies like me and TYO, have managed to, and Amarrz have managed to kind of have done something that which is quite, it's quite beautiful if you think about it. But I'll explain it later on. I need to go because I need to.
Okay, before you go, Raj,
I'll come back on 11.
Raj, before you go, Faz apparently says that he humiliated you and Raindrop. Apparently,
no. Faz is it's not. It's Baba Faz from Amritsar. He's Baba Faz from Amritsar. Even Amritsar.
Raj, listen. You're gonna have to leave Sikhism and come over to the.
No, you're
Team
mad.
Atheism.
You're mad.
You're gonna have to come over to Team Atheism.
Our new Baba is Baba Faz.
Why? How did he become a Baba? Does he not shave his pubes no more?
Well, he's all right, Baba now. He's walking about saying, "Oh, this is Sikhism, that Sikhism." He doesn't even know anything. But I don't hate. Thing is, I have to admit, I hate TYO. I hate Mr. Amarrz, but I can't hate Faz for some reason. I don't know what it is. I just can't hate the guy. So I even forgive him for the amount of bullshit he talks. But yeah, I'll be back at around 11:30. So if you want to get the information in the back, I'll send you some videos. One of them's actually a Pakistani channel.
What do you hate me for, Raj?
Right, I was just going to say, you haven't said hello to Ultra Front.
I did say Ultra. Listen, Ultra. He's not important today, unfortunately. Sorry, man.
What do you mean? I'm always important.
Yeah, I know. No, you are. But you're an atheist, so you're godless. So we have to kind of like shun you for
Godless,
a
you
bit.
know, godless. No way, godless.
You're godless, so we have to shun you for a bit. So I'll come back around 11:30. If you want to have a discussion about that, then we can discuss why what happened yesterday is very important in terms of like India and Pakistan relations as well.
I'm cool.
Yeah. All right, so research it before you get. I'll send you some JPEGs as well. Look who's there, Sid. All the Pakistanis. Do you know what's realized? They've realized I'm happy with the Pakistanis today, so they're all jumping on to get a bit of Raj love.
I'm a bastard.
I was on the panel here first.
Today I've been praising the Pakistanis. Like we've been watching. What it is, I've been watching for 2 days here, like the Kartarpur corridor opening.
You're looking to play the Pakistanis.
So I've seen so many Pakistanis in 2 days at the Kartarpur corridor that I'm sort of getting used to them. Don't know what I'm saying. I'll be back later though. An hour and a half though. Sid, I'll be back in an hour and a half. We'll talk about it then.
You apply for a Pakistani visa, Raj?
No, I'm gonna. If I go Amritsar and I'm allowed into India, I will go to Kartarpur. Definitely. I'll roll into Pakistan and I'll say, "Where's Amarrz? Where's Amarrz?"
Did I hear you say something about me?
Yeah, I was saying that the Pakistanis are going to get some love for just for maybe like 5 days. That's it. After that, I'm back to
on the 6th day, you're fucked. On the 6th day, you're fucked. 5
days, then I'm burning fire back on you guys.
What did the Pakistanis do to inherit this love?
Oh, don't worry. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. You should. How can you not know what happened yesterday?
We don't give a fuck.
It's been on TV all day.
Oh, they're Kashmiri. That's what. Oh, they're Kashmiri, of course.
It's been on TV for the past 2 days.
Don't worry. For the Punjabis, it's a big deal. For the Punjabis, it's more a Punjabi thing. Anyway, I'll be back around an hour and a half.
Yeah. Enjoy your new soap.
And welcome to Sid.
Truth now, what really fucking happened is, you know, the shit that comes out of his mouth sometimes is not exactly accurate.
Apparently, Faz has turned Sikh and he's become a Baba, and he's Raj's guru now, not guru, but mentor now. That's what he just said. Oh, I got that anyway. No wonder Faz didn't want to have a debate with me and Molly. He turned into a Sikh Baba.
Let me see what's going on in the chat. Big up to Reggie in the chat. Jump on, man. Back chat.
Amarrz. You know what, Amarrz?
Yeah.
So you know this whole Mawlid thing and stuff like that, right? I understand where you're coming from. Because it is quite, because obviously it is quite a practice tradition. It is a tradition. I've done a lot of research on it, especially in Kashmir. They do that. Like they do like
and Indonesia and Yemen and Algeria and Egypt.
Yeah. So
and Medina.
Listen.
The majority of the Muslims in the world do it. The majority of the Muslims in the UK do it.
Not majority. It's wrong. It's not majority.
Wait, what's this? What's this you lot are talking about?
The celebration of Prophet's birthday.
Okay.
So, you know,
the majority of the Muslim world do it.
Amarrz, listen, I did my little research on that, right?
Okay.
And Safaz is right to a certain degree. There isn't nothing stopping you from doing it, but it's more based on intention, right? If you want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So Sid, that's exactly what I'm saying. I never said it's obligatory, and nobody can say it's haram, and nobody can stop me from doing it. And if they do so,
there's nothing stopping you from doing it.
Yeah, and nobody can say it's haram either.
Listen. It's based on everything you do in life is based on intention, right? So when you do something, if your intention is that it's the Prophet's birthday, for example, say, so we're going to have a gathering today, we're going to do like a khatam, or we're going to do whatever, right? Then you're in grey area. Nobody can decipher and say what it is, because only God knows.
That's already been said to Sid Bash. The scholars already differ in the opinion, and they carry on. But you get some people, who are campaigning against it, and actually people calling kafir and calling them Sufi dogs, this, that, the same people who have been exposed as blasphemy. But what would you say, Sid Bash? You're a Muslim brother, you're born in a Muslim family. What would you say?
The reason why I'm saying this is because
let me ask you something, Sid Bash. I'm asking you something. What would you say? What would you say to somebody who calls the event of the birth of Prophet Muhammad a biryani sex day?
Come on, man. swear wrong in it. So
it's wrong, yeah? It's blasphemous in it. What would you say to somebody when the name of Prophet Muhammad is on a wall or a door, and somebody sticks a finger at it and says, "This is shirk, fuck you"? What would you say to that?
yeah, but listen. At the end of the day, it comes down to you're speaking to people that are quite passionate or too hot-headed or not.
Oh no,
You
no,
need to
I'm talking to people who are donkeys.
yeah, but you need to
They've been
speak to a
affected.
scholar
They've been
or something.
affected by. They've been affected by Satan
Yeah.
so much.
All right,
And
look.
they've been affected by Satan so much. They're sticking a finger at the
Yeah.
name of Muhammad, and they're
So-
calling the birth of Muhammad a sex day. So
But-
obviously they need to repent and
Yeah.
take the shahada again. It's
All right,
all
look, I think
Dan, you was gonna say something.
yeah, I think we're gonna
Yeah.
Abu Bilal Amarrz thoroughly deaded on. I don't really know if I understand enough about the topic. I think it's a bit of a slow one. And I don't know. Sid, what did I'm guessing you didn't jump on to talk about that. So
No.
welcome to the panel. It was.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. If you really do want to.
No, it's cool, man.
Sid just confirmed everything. He said that it's okay to.
No, I didn't say it was okay.
All right, look.
Come on, I'm saying I don't know. I'm
okay, well, you don't know. Well, if you're saying that there's nothing wrong with it, I'm saying it's okay because obviously you're not saying there's nothing your intention.
All right, good, cool.
If your intention is right, there's nothing wrong with celebrating the life of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, celebrating the birthday. There's nothing wrong with bashing reason as well.
I said no, I don't agree with you there.
So you said to me.
No, I said it was no. Listen, don't put words in my mouth. I said it's a grey area. I was trying to find out if there was a definitive answer where one scholar or we can have enough majority vote to say, look, you know what?
There is a definitive answer.
And I came on board. Listen, when you came and you talked about it and you mentioned it, I came on board to say, look, you know what? In my opinion, I do think it's wrong. In my opinion, but that's my opinion, and I'm not.
That's your opinion. You can choose that, but you think it's wrong, but you that's for you. But you can't prove to me that it's haram. That's why you're not telling me that I can't do it.
Other people that are more educated than I am, so it goes down to that.
Well, basically, I've got the lead, I've got evidences, and I've provided them.
That's for another date and time. Otherwise, we can go on.
That's not a problem. I just would like to remind everybody, I've refuted anybody who's debating with lead, and I put them in their place, and I've put them wrong, and I've proved myself right every time.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, what's happening, Dan?
Yeah, all good, bro.
Anyway, 5 minutes left.
Going on. How's your isn't it?
Yeah, my knee's busted up, man. So it's all right. I mean, I'm limping still. It's been about 2.5, 3 months now. So I think I'm gonna go back to see the specialist, and it's most likely gonna need operated on now. It's not healing up properly, so I might need to get it operated on. So I'm gonna probably Monday give him a call, and I'll probably get the operation done in around December time. So because that way it gives me enough time. I'm gonna be out for like 6 months now, so we'll see what happens anyway, man.
I've heard Great Dunya's got some legal steroids. Anyway,
changing the topic, I think. Right. So this is the Speaker's Corner review. Have you?
I saw a little bit earlier, but to be fair, I mean it's the same stuff every day, man. People shouting at each other. I got bored of it after a while. There's no kind of, I mean, there's only who was streaming from there. There's only Rax and who's the other one? I only saw 2 people that were there that were streaming.
Leon.
Yes, Leon was there. Yeah, I didn't see any of his stuff, to be fair. But yeah, what were the topics? Anything decent?
To be honest, I was hoping someone.
Yeah. Rax, I've got to give it to him, man. So somebody to go out there for 10 hours and start freaking streaming, but no, I would not do that, man. It's way too cold to stand outside for 10 hours every Sunday and start streaming. I just could not do that, man. I got to give it to him. I respect him for that, man. Every Sunday, he's never had a day off. He's done it for the last year. So credit where it's due.
Avi. Big up. I wouldn't say. That's all for this. Yeah, do you know what? I like these questions. Sorry, I like these questions. Let me come a little bit close to my mic. I like these questions on topics of or philosophy.
I've got a philosophical question for you, Dan. I've got a philosophical question for you. Okay. If somebody of another faith does something which is universally good, which is encouraged in your faith and every other faith as well, and you adopt that practice of that person of another faith, yep. For example, you see your neighbor who's possibly a Jewish guy, and you see him, he's leftover bread, he goes to the park and feeds the ducks, and you normally used to throw it away in the bin. So you think, hang on, he's reminding me to do that, I will do that with him or her, or I will do it when I have my free bread. Would you think that's a good thing to do, or would you think that you are just as Jewish is a bad example, just as a pagan, you know, somebody is a pagan, and he's feeding the ducks with bread, and you adopt that practice and not be wasteful of your leftover bread. Would you think that's a good thing or a bad thing to do?
So is it a good practice? Objectively,
Yeah.
It's a good practice. Then I think you've answered your question.
No, I'm just saying what you think. There's certain people out there, especially because I'm a Muslim, there's certain people who call themselves Muslim, and they're a bit extreme in their views. And I was just trying to say that just because sometimes somebody does something good, they don't have to be a Muslim for them to do good. You know what I mean? Not only Muslim people, not the only people who do good things. I'm just non-Muslim people do good things as well, and it takes a good Muslim to acknowledge that good and adopt that practice if it is good, if it can benefit the Muslim in his life or her life as well. That's why I was just trying to make that point across.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think that I mean,
some Muslims.
So what they would consider what feeding ducks to be.
Well, it's like this, for example. It's like this. No, that was just an analogy I was saying, yeah, because there's some saying that you take some Muslims say that you're adopting pagan rituals and pagan this and that, but if I'll just say, for example, there's a pagan ritual, a pagan holiday on a certain date, and the pagans are doing all sorts of different rituals, i.e., blood sacrifice or drinking, whatever they're doing, yeah. But with me, on that day, instead of that, whatever the pagans are doing, on that day, I do something which is encouraged by my faith. Just because I do it on that day.
Look, Amarrz, you're creeping back to the topic. Look, you are in a very roundabout way.
I'm just talking about normal, you know what I mean, common sense. Now, for example, Christmas, yeah, I'm not going to celebrate Christmas, you know what I mean, the way Christians are doing or anyone else. I'm going to have a day off at Christmas from work. So I'm going to celebrate Christmas by celebrating my rest and giving thanks to God that He's blessed me with a good life and the good food, halal food to eat, and a family to eat it with. And I will eat food with my family on Christmas Day. You know what I mean? And because I do that and I celebrate the praises of my Lord by giving me halal food and blessing me with my family and blessing me with me a day off. And I do it every year on Christmas Day. Certain Muslims, fanatics, extremists will call that a misguidance that leads me to hellfire. And I find that hard to believe. I just wanted an opinion of a non-Muslim like yourself, Dan. Could you please elaborate?
So I didn't listen entirely, but this is basically if you want to celebrate something on a day that is a pagan day. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, if you want to celebrate and give thanks to God, what I'm saying is, no matter what day you want to do it, you can do it. But for me, just if I'm giving an example, there's many people with a similar situation. On Christmas, they have a day off, and there's many people in the UK who are not Christian and who would not partake.
Yeah, all right, okay, I get that. So, right.
So I would give thanks on that day because I got a day off. I would eat family food with my family, and I mean every year on Christmas Day, and give thanks to God for giving me all the good things. But I would not practice the same things that are practiced in the festivities of Christmas, what Christians do, or people who celebrate Christmas generally in the UK, but or the non-Muslims, i.e. drinking and I mean turkey and all sorts. I'll probably have a turkey, but because I'm having a turkey, certain Muslim extremists will say that that's an innovation that's going to lead me to hellfire, but it's nothing to do with my religion.
Well, I don't know. If we're dealing with,
I mean,
if we're dealing with, this is the thing. When's Christmas? When is Christmas? Is Christmas in December?
Christmas in the UK.
Hold on, is Christmas is in December, right? But then but in the East, it's.
I don't know, but we're living in England.
Eastern Orthodox, it's like January the 7th or something, I think.
I don't know, but we're living in England, innit? We get a day off on Christmas.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. But the point is that okay,
no, so we live in England. We live in England.
Yeah, but you eat if you eat every day, you eat your food every day, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but do you eat food on Christmas Day? What is called Christmas Day? Yeah, but so is that a Christmas dinner?
No, yeah, it's a Christmas dinner, but not for Christmas. It's just a Christmas dinner for the holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, but Amarrz, all you gotta say is Qadian's birthday on the 25th of December. All you can say is you're doing it for Qadian.
I'm not doing it for Qadian. I'm doing it for myself. You know what I mean? For my day off, I'm giving thanks to God to give me halal food and blessing me with a family and blessing me the day off to spend with my family.
This is what I'm saying. There'll be people who, all right. I mean, the other way around it is to just give thanks every time you eat food. And if you're thankful, if you're thankful,
Amarrz Ali Kaan was just trying to make you do taqiyya just then. You know that. Just say you're doing it for Qadian a minute.
No. I do it for no Qadian. I do it for myself. Anyway, what it is basically, I'm not saying, I mean, the people who are understandable, who are intellect and Muslims, who with the intelligence, and they know that obviously there's nothing wrong with that. Doing that, there's nothing wrong with the turkey as long as it's halal. But some people are saying, you're doing your practice of copying pagans. Yeah, but pagans don't eat halal turkeys. Pagans don't give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And pagans don't believe in Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So I'm not sure how I'm copying the pagans.
What are you saying, Ahmad? They're still getting at you, yeah?
No one's getting at me, man. They were refuted long time ago.
Now you know how I feel.
I refuted them all.
Big up to Mr. Objectivity, man. Ahmed in the place. Respect. Yeah, man, I'm good, man.
Objectivity.
Yeah, for real. To be fair, you need a dub plate on here. They call me Delil Dan on Respects. We're gonna call you we're gonna call you Ahmed Objectivity. I think that's the one, man. Big up.
What's my name then?
Nah, man, you can't ask that. The dub plate will just come when it comes, man. Just wait.
Listen, there's loads in the making for me, I think.
Ahmed Objectivity. You're the one who coined that anyway, Mr. Amarrz. So big up, man.
Ahmed Objectivity.
That's your creation there, man. Big up. Yeah, so Ahmed, we were just we talked about a couple of things this evening. We talked about World War II, World War One. What else we talk about?
Shit, you lot are not playing around.
Yeah, well, Remembrance Sunday and all of that, innit? So it's on the cards, like it's on the news, it's on the TV and stuff. So it's in people's minds. So it's worth discussing. Big up to Kaan on the panel. Welcome, man.
Kaan
Cheers,
in the
man.
house.
How's it going?
What's going on? You alright?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Ertugrul is in the house.
Yeah, I'm good, man. Had a lovely day today.
Hey, Ertugrul, what you saying?
Yeah, man. You know that.
You know about Ertugrul, innit?
Yeah, of course.
I miss that series, man. It ran out on me, bro. I miss it, man. It's a good show.
Wait, someone's got a question. Ask these high IQ panels this question. What happens when an unstoppable force comes in contact with an immovable object? So, an immovable object and an unstoppable force. What happens?
Well, one of them is gonna have to give in, innit? One of them is gonna stop being immovable or unstoppable. You can't have both. I mean, how are they gonna accommodate each other?
It's like if you're saying that it's like a car driving into a brick wall, yeah? So an unstoppable force is the car, the immovable force would be the brick wall. Yeah, so what would happen? The car would literally bounce off the wall.
So the car would become stoppable.
Because
if it's an unstoppable force,
because Kaan, if it bounces off, then what is a bounce? A bounce is like a redirection of force. So force hits an object at an angle, and then a certain amount of force is exerted to push it away from the static surface. So if the surface stays static and the ball moves, then a bouncing ball means that the ball is lost. The ball has moved off, away from the wall. The wall has held its ground. The ball has come all the way to the wall, and then it's had to retreat. It's bounced off.
So it's become stoppable then, hasn't it?
So it's stopped. So yeah, but so then that ball wasn't unstoppable.
No. The energy that's moving the car towards the wall, yeah, doesn't break through the wall or become absorbed by the wall, but is reflected. So the energy doesn't stop moving. The energy hits the wall and reflects back off it. So the energy doesn't stop. So it's the immovable force. Unstoppable force. Yeah.
Okay, so let's
imagine the force doesn't stop.
So let's imagine
because it's an unstoppable force. It doesn't stop. You get me? And the immovable object doesn't move.
No, but 1 second. No, but Kaan, it must have stopped for a second at least. You know, while it's changing trajectory, there must be a moment of stop there.
Not really. Like if you think about energy, it's a wave, isn't it? So the wave reflects.
Okay, does it slow down?
No.
While it's changing trajectory, don't you think that it slows down to some degree? Just that little second?
No, because none of the energy is absorbed. We're talking about imaginary wall, not a real wall. We're talking about a wall that's impenetrable. So therefore, none of the energy is actually absorbed. So there is no slowing down.
Yeah, big up to some.
But in real life,
big up scientific method. Big up scientific method as well. I think scientific method is going to come on. What you gonna say? In real life, you get a what?
In real life, part of the energy would be absorbed by the wall.
Yeah, some of the energy would.
So there would.
Some of it would be absorbed. Well, no, there would be an exchange. So some of the energy would be exchanged and converted into sound. So you'd hear an object make contact.
Yeah.
So that's a transfer of energy. But then, I mean, the bounce is also a transfer of energy, and it's a transfer.
Good point.
Yeah. So
very good point. Yeah.
Big up Rayan. Big up to Sadatin. Yo, what is Hassan? You, jump on the panel, man. What are you doing? Just chilling in the chat. big up to we got some funny names, man. Shirky Stevens. Big up Shirky Stevens.
That was a good one. Shirky Stevens was a good one. I was laughing as well.
that's a funny name, man. Big up to Shirky Stevens, man. Big up Shirky, man. Who else have we got inside? Yeah, man. All right. So it's not the old days thing. Big up to Carnito on the panel, man. So yeah, immovable object and unstoppable force. So let's imagine.
So I have to stand corrected. But Ahmed was right. Yeah, there would be some slowing down because of what Dan said, that the energy would change form. So there'll be less energy reflecting.
A scientific method is here now. Big up.
Big up, man, like Method. Method, man. What are you saying?
Hey, Method, man. I like that, you know.
Yeah, for real, I like that. I'm a Wu-Tang fan.
I like that. I like that, Kaan. You're dropping dubs today as well, man. Big up, Kaan.
Yeah, big up, Method.
Yeah, respect, guys. Respect.
Yeah, so scientific method. You, I'm sure you've come to correct certain inaccuracies. Come to set the method and the record straight, man.
It's not like that. All I wanted to really say, I haven't really been on any panels for a while, so I thought I'd just jump on. I'm free this evening. But yeah, the thing is, with questions like this, yeah, I love the way that you guys are so sincere, intellectually sincere, in the sense that you both tried to answer the question. It's such a stupid question. Like, where in the world is unstoppable or unstoppable force a technical term? What does it apply to? Give me an example. Where in the world is there such a thing? It's just a silly idea that human beings have made up. Let's have a concept of an unstoppable force. Now we marry it with the concept of what was the other one? Immovable object.
Immovable object, yeah.
This is just a silly thing. Where in the world is there an immovable object? Everything in the universe moves constantly. Yeah, the universe is expanding, which means that even if you stand still, you're still moving. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, these two concepts, both of them are invalid as technical terms. They're not scientific terms. They're not physically demonstrable. They don't relate to anything in reality. This is just a silly question. It's like asking, well, who would win in a fight? Jesus or Muhammad? Or,
I'm not so sure about that.
I mean?
So what about so when we all right, so our ability to walk, and all right, admittedly, a lot of our frames have been designed, you know, or have been optimized, should we say, or evolved to the point where our muscles hold up our bones, and the environmental pressures, the gravitational pressures, etc., that are exerted on. I mean, over time, don't get me wrong, like they degrade, but essentially gravity is a constant, unstoppable force, and I mean, Earth, the planet Earth, I guess it's the closest thing to an immovable object.
Yeah, no, that's more interesting. You're taking it to a different level. Let my brain sort this out for a sec. Yeah. So what you're saying is, what I was talking about, I was treating it as on a purely literal level. You have a thing which you call an unstoppable force. You have a thing which is an immovable object, and you bash the two of them together. And then one of them that they can't. It's a contradiction. They can't cancel each other out. That's how I was looking at it. So now what you're saying is that if we do look at reality, there is such things that are more, equatable to this concept. For example, you said gravity itself is a universally existent force. As far as we can tell, it operates everywhere. At all scales. So I don't know.
It's the closest thing. It's not perfect.
Yeah. I'll agree that it's a good example. It's not perfect, but it's still reasonably close to what the point is. But it still leaves you with the point of there's no such thing as an immovable object. The Earth, it doesn't really qualify as immovable because its position is defined relative to something else, which is the sun. And we go around the sun and we treat the sun as if it's the immovable central spot. But the fact is the sun is not immovable. The sun goes around the Milky Way galaxy. So it's constantly moving as well. And the Milky Way galaxy we define as the center of that, as relative to the sun, we define that as the immovable object. But the fact is that that's also traveling at billions of miles an hour in a particular direction. So fair enough. I'll concede that we could quite simply make use of gravity as the unstoppable force, which fair enough, in a sense is true. But then we still face the problem of then there's no such thing as an immovable object.
But there's a lot of potential energy there. I'm sure if those two forces were to if there was some like equity there somewhere, I don't know if you could find a kind of friction point, like a biting point. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm thinking a little bit too abstract. But I like these questions, man. Because I feel like.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, Ty. What you're talking about, is this is exactly what scientists do. This is like the Large Hadron Collider is an example.
I was going to mention this. Yeah,
people of our type of mindset, not in terms of our technical abilities and our technical expertise, but in the sense of our curiosity about asking these questions and then seeing how it plays out and then checking and testing, and we have that correct mindset. But this is what they do. Like they thought, right, what would happen if you charge something up to the speed of light and then sent it around, with magnetic cells that that were superconducted to make it go that fast, and it went to the speed of light, or as close as we could get, which is really, really fast. And then we crashed it into something. Let's see what happens. I mean, that literally is why they built the Large Hadron Collider. They wanted to crash subatomic particles going at the speed of light into each other and into other things, and just see what happens. No one knew that process could have destroyed the universe. It could have created a black hole. We don't actually know. There's good reasons to think that it wouldn't have done that, obviously, because people are not that suicidal if they genuinely thought it was going to do one of those things. But the point is that look, this is what science is. In the past we had philosophy and science and metaphysics and poetry and religion and everything mixed up together. There was no clear
100%. Man.
But now
you could have been like, this could have been ancient Greece, and you're I don't know, you're like you specialised. You've gone to a university in Athens or something. You've been educated. You sat in like earshot of Plato or someone. Let's just imagine, right? So that like. This is basically all you need. You've heard these big stories of Plato.
Alexander the Great take lessons from Aristotle.
Let's say you go to this university.
It was like a private tutor.
Hold that thought. You hear Plato, and you go down to a river one day and have a wash. And when you're down there, some like couple of women turn up. They're like playing instruments or whatever else. Or I don't know. I'm trying to set a scene. I don't know. You start thinking about the sound. They go down to their little part of the river. They have their little wash or whatever else. I don't know, man. People just started talking, and you just sit down on a rock with your little toga, and you start thinking about the world, and you make little observations, and you notice that when a certain note is played by the harp or whatever, there's a vibration in the water, and you realise that sound moves water, and it has a wave effect. And
but I mean, even simpler than that. I mean, the way they made instruments and music, they would have. How difficult do you think it was after we developed, say, language about 80,000 years ago, and basic tools like knives and spears and things around the house like a little table. Once we could do basic carpentry, way before the agricultural revolution and all that stuff. How difficult do you think it was for human beings to start working out that if you hollowed out something and it had this much ratio of space to wood, it would make this type of sound? There are examples of people doing this like thousands of years before anything we would call civilization. One of the best examples I like for the scientific method is can you imagine one of the earliest of our ancestors literally doing what you like way before the image you were given, but literally just living in, I don't know, the jungle or caves or whatever. All it would have taken is that one of them would have been bashing rocks together, and they would have just realized.
Said this before,
How hard would it be for them to have just realized? Guess what? The white rock always breaks the brown rock, or whichever.
And when you knock two brown rocks together, they spark, or two black rocks together.
Exactly, and so things like that. So they would know, once they had language. The important thing is language, because before that they didn't have a way of saving this information. Now with language, they could now teach it to the next person, the next child, the next generation, and now it became a saved thing that everybody started off with. You know what I mean? And that's where I would say language is definitely one of the top 2 or 3, important things for our development. The brain itself hasn't changed that much, but what we've used the brain for has changed, and that's important.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and I suppose the environment that our brains are in have also changed. It's a sort of synergistic relationship. Like, nature, nurture, nature kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's symbiotic. They play off each other. They need each other. You know, one thing I think is interesting, yeah, like in my little forages into little psychology and that, I found that it's hard to deny, yeah, but you know, we think of our human brain as the most advanced psyche on the planet. You know, it seems obvious. Obviously, look at the effect with damage and maths and physics, and like, no other animals can do, you know, so little compared to what our brains can achieve.
Yeah,
but you know
being
what?
self-aware.
Yeah. The self-awareness, yeah, we have it to a very high degree as well. But there's other animals that come close, mammals like dolphins and chimpanzees. They have these weird social traits as well, to do with, you know, being embarrassed and shameful, you know, things like that. But what I was going to say is that it's not actually that clear cut, you know, because if you look at a different type of psyche, like for example, a hive mentality, the type that ants and bees have, and other creatures as well, but mainly ants and bees. Now, they operate in such a way that it's almost as if anything that any one of them knows, it's almost as if all of them know it at the same time, because they have a very good communication. Like,
but don't you think as humans we have them sort of abilities that we have kind of like a consciousness that kind of like is a bit more what's the word? Connected. I'm going to sound too hippie-ish now. But like a collective, collective consciousness.
I see where you're going, bro. But you see, for me, I don't personally think that that's already inherent. But I do think that technology is simulating that anyway. Like the way that the internet has changed our experience of reality. It's like, can you believe that you can literally find out almost anything about anything that anybody's ever said or thought or done immediately within a matter of seconds? Like, can you believe how that's going to raise?
Do you know that reminds me of? Have you heard of
that's a good point.
Was it the Akashic records? Is it a Hindu belief that knowledge exists?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Plane?
But scientific method, we can find information that already exists. But where do you go to find new information? Where's that stored? Where do you find that?
No, there is new information.
It's only new to you.
No, he's saying a good point. It's a really good point. There is new information, and the where what I said comes into play with new information is that when new things do get found out, for example, with science, mainly with science, to be fair, we get to find out much quicker, immediately. You know, like things get published, things get put out there. We can get checked on. I'm linked to Facebook pages of all the things that are going on in, you know, aspects of the world that I'm interested in, and so is everyone else. You know, so even if
you can follow your favorite scientists now.
Yeah, I remember, bro. I'm 40 years old. When I was a teenager, I remember it used to be such a treat, to go to the library twice a week after school, because I had to do Arabic classes. I used to have to pray. I used to have to do all sorts of things. So, you know, getting to go to the library twice a week, it was bloody amazing. Can you believe, like, the kids nowadays, they don't even use the internet to read books or find books. Like, and I think to myself, you don't know what it was like, the struggle to go in when you wanted to find things out or learn things or, you know, read stuff, and it was difficult. But now, like, there are kids out there that are so nerdy, they do nothing but learn stuff, you know, and that's a good thing.
So maybe new information exists in boxes, I suppose, in cities, in towns, I don't know. It's out.
When you say new information about, I don't know. You mean like new things that people say, new ideas that people have,
new observations,
or new
truly,
or new facts? Are you talking about new facts about reality?
Could be new facts. I suppose facts kind of lead people to truths, don't they? So yeah. New facts. Yeah. I mean, we kind of roughly know. I mean, you can. People sort of, you know, they rely on these sort of news aggregation websites to put all of the information together for them in a neat, easy to access place. People go to BuzzFeed, and certain things rise to the top. You know, the cream of the crop, so to speak. You know, the coolest stories or whatever. So generally speaking, most people within, you know, I would say within a decade of a new idea kind of emerging would have heard that idea. It would have spread.
Yeah, but it's a lot quicker nowadays. If they're in tune, if they're in, all it takes is a click. For example, on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. If you just start clicking on certain what's it called, I don't know, accounts, like somebody posts something, you like it, you get to see more from that person. And if you subscribe to a group or something that's about science, or it's about history, or it's about Polish food or whatever, you will get more and more information. And if, like, for example, with science, you're quite often dealing, like, people don't really subscribe to websites that teach you about the history of science. There's so many other places you can find that out. But this cutting edge of science about what's going on and what's being discovered, and what the newest hypotheses are, what the latest experiments that are predicted to be tested. You know what I mean? The actual cutting edge of it, the frontiers of science, where we're actually going to find stuff out. It's amazing that we now can literally almost watch that happening in front of us. You know, before, if you was in school in the 90s, you were still being taught information that was 10, 15 years out of date scientifically. But obviously with the major established theories like evolution and germs and cells and atoms, that stuff is not really going to go away, because even if it is found in, like, say it was found 10 years ago that cells don't actually exist the way we think they do, it's still fine for it to be taught in schools for the next 10, 15 years, because they have to understand that this is how we thought they were for this long, and the reason why we did think that. They have to understand and appreciate that. So it's not that big a deal, but obviously.
And the thing is, to teach them something new as well, you have to have it formulated into a level where it can be explained. You get me? Like, you can't just discover something new and then instantly make it part of the curriculum. Like,
exactly. So how could you
get me?
If we suddenly found that the way we see the structure of a cell is completely wrong, and we suddenly started to teach people the new way, like, how could we suddenly have so much evidence for the new way that would mean that everything we found out about the last one suddenly is not relevant?
No, but you know that happens a lot in science. That happens a lot. Like, you go to a lecture and the guy will talk for 2 hours, and at the end, obviously his favorite students that stay behind, he will turn around and say, "You lot know that this is outdated, right?" And then he will start, like, peeling back your brain cells, boy. And he will tell you some new shit, and you'll be like, "Holy fuck!"
Or he would say,
but he will still tell you, like, if you want to pass the exam,
you need to know this. Yeah, you need to
for the last 2 hours. Yeah.
It just happened to me when I've been at university. I had a lecturer once who was a Marxist, and he gave me a D in an essay about historical materialism once. But the thing is, I actually know that I fucking aced that essay. Yeah, I even got a private tutor during that time. I knew that I aced that essay because I fucking genuinely understood what Marx's theory of historical materialism was. It's just something I found interesting. So I just, do you know in them ones where you just know, even when I'm in the lectures, I already knew that I know this shit inside out or from way back. So, but the thing is, I critiqued it. In my essay, I critiqued Marx's depiction of historical materialism, which ends up leading all societies to communism. And because that bastard was a proper Marxist socialist, he didn't want to hear it. But I feel like that sort of stuff which exists in university. It's kind of,
you missed that rule number 1 when you're writing an essay for someone, innit?
Yeah, I should have. You know what it was? I don't think I'd identified that he was that much of a Marxist. He'd mentioned it a couple of times, but I never really, because I just thought, you know what these people have to be neutral.
When you was at uni, did you used to have like I had a personal group of girlfriends who were like girls that I used to send them to the lecturer's room, and I used to just sit down and just natter with them and find out bare shit about them, and come back and go, "Oh yeah, his wife divorced him, and then this happened," and they'll tell you so much shit. But if you go there as a dude and sit down with him and go, "Yeah, sir, I need you to talk me through," he'll be just giving you 5 minutes, and then he'll get rid of you. Do you know what I mean? Them girls, I tell you what, they're the infiltrators, mate. They're the ones you send them in.
Yeah, no,
I used to do that a lot. Yeah, see.
I had to do it all by myself.
But I had to, because in nutrition, for some reason, there's 1 or 2 boys and 50 girls.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. It's a weird one.
50 girls, yeah?
Yeah, loads of girls.
That's probably why you chose it, innit?
No, but it was a lot of fun along the way, but that's not the reason why.
Let me check the gender ratio of these courses. So in your interview, you was like, so what's the ratio?
Mate, I tell you something, it was fun.
We need to get some more of these philosophical questions thrown at the panel, I feel. Whoever complimented the panel earlier as well, man. Someone was like, it's a high IQ panel, and I'd agree, man. We've got at least triple digits, I'd say, up here. So big up the panel, man. If you want to raise the level,
I've got a question.
Raise the IQ level of the panel at your own risk, I would say. Too many.
If a tree falls
Go on.
Yeah, stop me if you've heard it. If a tree falls in a forest, and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah.
So, what is sound?
Is a type of energy that is caused by normally particles vibrating or clashing into each other.
Okay, but yeah.
But is it a sound?
That's the phenomenon.
Is it a sound if you don't hear it? Only once you hear it.
Yeah.
Only once you hear it and you identify it, then it becomes a sound.
Yeah, the thing is this, is when I was younger and I heard all these philosophical conundrums, I used to think they were fascinating. But when I've learned about science, I've realized that most of these philosophical conundrums aren't actually that clever. The simple fact of the matter is, if you was to put a tape recorder next to the tree and then went 100 miles away, that tape recorder will tell you if it made a sound or not. Simple as that.
But then,
what I'm saying is, until you hear the recording, can it be classed as a sound?
No, if you suddenly had your sense of hearing taken away from you 100% completely, you could never know whether it made a sound or not. You could only say that every single time in my life I've ever heard a tree or I've ever heard anyone hear a tree fall in, it's always made a sound.
Well, sound is different frequencies of vibration. So, like a low frequency vibration is something that you feel more. A higher frequency is
you're just feeling it on your eardrum.
It's more like it's eardrum and kind of tinny and I mean, so I think humans hear from a spectrum of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, 20,000 hertz.
I think that's the pitch. I think that's the pitch that is to do with the speed of the vibrations. I think the power of it. No, actually, that pitch and tone is the same, isn't it?
Well, so
actually, I don't really know much about music.
The pitch of I mean, the pitch is modulated by frequency and I'm going to basically frequency obviously over time and across this. But
Dan, the thing is though, why wouldn't that all of that would be exactly the same, whether you listen to the recording, whether you are nearby or not. Why would anyone think that it wouldn't make a sound? As far like this is the way that common sense works. As far as anybody has ever experienced for themselves, whenever a tree falls down, it makes a sound. Of course it does. It'd be impossible for it not to make a sound. It's massive. It makes a big sound normally. So obviously, if someone blindfolded you, and put things in your ears, and took you 1,000 miles away and said, "I chopped a tree down next to the one that we just checked earlier," do you think it made a sound? I mean, you're obviously going to say, "I can't prove it because I'm not there and I can't hear a recording."
Let's switch.
But I think it did.
Let's switch the question up, right? Let's say you're walking through a forest, and the biggest tree that you've ever seen falls over and makes the most beautiful sound that you've ever heard. Okay, so the biggest tree that you've ever seen falls over in the most beautiful forest that you've ever seen as well, right? And it makes the most beautiful sound. That is the most inspiring sound. That basically it sort of leads you to your ultimate truth, right? So that sound reveals everything to you in that moment, right? But you're the only one to hear it. Did that tree make a sound? Did you actually have that experience?
No. Yeah, you did. What? Say that again. What?
That's a mad one, bro. But you know what? Yeah, that's cheating, bro. You know what?
That's not cheating. It's 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 not cheating. Let's imagine that's already happened. Let's imagine that happened in like some rainforest or something. But let's say there was a couple of people there.
I tell you what the thing is, Dan. Yeah, it's a reasonable point. Yeah, but the thing is this: is all the extra like superlatives of that most amazing like sound, most amazing forest, the most amazing feeling. Those are irrelevant. The thing what we're talking about here is whether the sound still occurs, meaning that even if you aren't there to physically witness something with your own senses, can you still be 100% certain in the same way that you would be if you'd seen it or heard it yourself? That the same thing occurred.
So let's imagine trees. Okay, so what else lives in forests?
Loads of animals, isn't it?
okay, so if a tree falls in the forest, like, are there animals in the forest? Well, I'd assume there are. So if a tree falls in the forest, and me or you aren't there to hear it, and there's no humans there to hear it, I'd imagine a bird would hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, boys.
Or I would imagine a monkey would hear it, or I'd imagine like a spider or something would hear it. So I'd imagine, yeah, it's like, and yeah, I mean, yeah, it's always going to make a sound because there's always an observer there. There's always something there to observe it. It doesn't matter if it's a human or not.
There's not always an observer. I mean, if you was to, I don't know, vacuum out every other living creature and only had trees there, it would still make a sound. But the point is that there's not a conscious observer to experience the phenomena of the tree falling.
Let's imagine, right, that God did that, right? So God vacuumed out creation, right, and just said, right, let me just try this again, right? Sound, right? But there's no one there to hear it. Like, if I did a stream last night, right? If I did the stream, and it was the best stream ever, but no one was there to watch it, did it happen? Did you see it? So, okay, cool. So let's say I did it again today, because, I don't know. Because I did it yesterday, but there was no one here. There was no one here.
It's not the same.
No. I'm not.
You're a conscious being, aren't you?
I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just giving myself, because I gave you I think I gave Kaan the props before. I gave Scientific Method the opportunity. He walked through the forest and he had the most beautiful tree fall over and all of that. So I just gave myself a little bit of the praise for a second. But seriously, let's imagine God did that. So he creates a universe or space and makes sound, but there's no one there apart from him to experience it. So then he creates more. That's what this is the sort of stuff. I think God's a scientist. God has to be a scientist. God is the original scientist in my opinion.
Well, if he exists, then by definition, yes, because he engineered everything. Yeah, he would be more than a scientist. He would be science. He would be reality.
Yeah.
He would be
He'd
everything.
be the best. He's the best mathematician. He's the best scientist. And,
if he existed, but yeah. Sorry.
He does.
Dan,
have you not read the Quran? Have you not read the Quran?
Yeah, I have read the Quran. Dan, the thing is this, yeah, what you
Oh,
said.
then you know he exists. And you know he exists.
Yeah, Dan, this is the thing. Yeah, is what you said about if you imagine that if God done this. That is the case, because if you believe in God, then you do believe God created the universe, and for billions of years there weren't any living creatures to experience the sounds that were occurring, and so
experience time.
Yeah, or experience time. There was no conscious.
You know what the purpose of this question is, though. Do you know the purpose of this question?
Go on.
The purpose of this question is to help you achieve Zen, because this is actually a Zen question. And it's the question that the master asked the student, and there is no answer to it. There is no actual answer to this question.
No, but see, but this is what I said. But Kaan, this
on the line of this questioning.
There is an answer.
There isn't an answer.
No, there is definitely an answer. Do you want the answer?
You're not supposed to have an answer.
Wait,
okay,
let Lister try.
So let's say you're out in nature. And it's just so super silent, and you're just like, oh, you're with your friend, and it's like, oh, isn't it silent? And then you're both appreciating that silence out there. But you put in another, let's say you're with your dog. You might think it's silent, but that dog can hear the trees rustling like hundreds of meters away, or it can hear like crickets in the grass like a few meters away. So we say that there's no sound because we can't hear anything, but there is sounds there, but we just can't pick them up. So there's generally always
no. You're missing the point.
Because
you're missing the point. You're missing the point. The sound of a tree falling is within the hearing range of both humans and dogs.
No, because I think dogs can. I mean, this is what they call it, dog whistling. Dogs can hear at a higher frequency, right? They can hear stuff. What happened with Did he get sniped?
Yeah, but the tree falling is something that is available to both dogs and human ears.
But the point is, wherever there's vibrations in like molecules, there is sound.
Yeah. at different scales. 100%. Yeah.
100%. So there's always
Yeah, that's
sound.
true.
It's just whether you have the equipment to pick
Yeah,
up that sound.
this is what I was gonna. This is what I said to Kaan. Kaan, remember at the beginning I said that these ancient philosophical conundrums. I mean, it's quite funny to me because like like 1,000 years ago, if someone asked that question, you might ponder it for hours and hours, and it'll be enough to help you get to sleep that night. Yeah, and that was the point of it, like you said. But what I was saying, what I said straight away was that is obviously now with the amount we have found out about basic aspects of reality, nature, and physics, a lot of those philosophical conundrums are very easy to answer. Like I said, that you could easily put a recording that was tuned in to every known pitch and tone and scale,
But that comes with a certain there's like an intellectual prerequisite. There's certain prerequisites that you need to have. So you need to have the knowledge to be able to capture sound. You need to understand sound first before you can try and so this is the point. Like all of this stuff, humans have essentially been the devices that have measured nature and made these observations about the universe, creation, whatever you want to call it, the environment,
about reality,
Mother Earth,
about reality,
whatever you want to call it, reality. It's a good way to keep it philosophical.
Yeah, but Dan, this is the thing though, is that obviously in the past we only had our senses, and at best we had other people to confer with,
then we
to
built
validate
systems,
what we claimed.
So we built language systems.
But now the situation is far different. We have, for example, sight. We don't have to rely on just our eyes. We can have telescopes, binoculars, infrared. We can see on so many different levels. When it comes to hearing, we don't have to rely on the fact that our ears can only hear things of a certain number of decimals upwards from a certain distance. We can have instruments that are tuned into thousands and thousands of % of power of magnification of hearing. That to me that's all valid, and that helps to answer, for example, a lot of the questions and ideas and things that people thought didn't have answers or couldn't have answers, like this sort of philosophical conundrum about the tree falling. It's all over and done with now.
I'm all for philosophical questions, but that one about the tree falling in the woods is so boring and old.
It's quite old, but it's a goodie, I think.
I like it.
It's old.
I like it.
It's old to you, but it was new at one point. You had that for the first time at one point. So there was another question that came in from big up to Gay Knowledge wherever. He's asking some good questions. What's more important, doing the right thing or doing things right?
Doing the right thing. If you do things wrong, then
bro, come on. This is the same thing again. It's just two different ways of saying.
No, but this is my. I don't think it is. It's not the same way.
It is two different ways of saying the same thing.
Say it again, Dan?
Look, doing something right is exactly the same as doing things rightly, isn't it? Doing things right.
No, one's a moral judgment. One's a.
I'd say one's a plural, or one's a singular.
I would say. So the second one, what was it? Say it again, Dan.
No, hang on. Isn't it? Listen, Dan. For me to explain this, isn't it the right thing to do things right?
Yes.
If it is the right thing to do things right, then that question itself is just circular. It's just there's two different ways of saying the same thing. They're both saying you should do the right thing. You should do the right thing in the right way. It's like what does that mean? It's like,
no. Well, I think you can do something. You could do something for the right reasons is what the first thing means. But then to do something right, you could do something wrong, but then learn from it. So then it would be a much better to do something wrong because you're learning.
No one said anything about doing anything wrong. People have just said.
But you could do something for the right reasons and still learn from it.
And I don't think no one said anything about learning. I think all that's been asked, I think it's much more simple than that. And I don't. He said they are thinking. Egos may get in the way. And that's with respect due to the panel as well. Landerkelt's dipped out. I don't know where he went. I was just about to ask him because he was on mute, so I thought he might have been considering a thoughtful response. Let's see. Oh, big up to old Hickory in the chat as well. Jump on, Hickory. So, what's more important, doing the right thing or doing things right? Things, plural, the right. Doing the right thing. Thing, singular. So, I don't know.
Dan, if you do things, I think you can do the right thing, but do the right thing wrongly, or you can do things right, but like if I wanted to do a bad thing but do it right, like rob a bank, but I wanted to do that right, it wouldn't make it the right thing. It would just make me evil, and well, not evil, but doing the wrong thing, but doing it successfully.
Well, I've got to read the question again.
So doing things right, like I think it's not important to do things right. It's important just to do things that are good. And if you do those good things in the wrong way, you'll learn from them.
See, this is the thing. I think you're on the right. You're right, but you're thinking about the word right and wrong. I think you're on the moral issue. I think I'm still thinking more about the semantics. And also, and gain knowledge has just said the clue is that what's more important. So there's a value judgment in there as well. I think it's quite a good question. It's quite a multifaceted question. Credit to you. Hold on.
So
Avi in the chat has said, doing the right thing. Of course, it will be based on social norms, based on morality, and then depending on where this judgment of morality comes from. Okay. Interesting. Judgment of morality, I'm not so sure.
I think in common English language, I think there's a distinct different meaning in those two sentences. That's my opinion. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, to me, it just sounded like it's just so the same thing. Doing the right things or doing things right. To me, it's exactly the same thing. Those you could easily substitute either one of those sentences when you want to say that.
But it says doing the right thing, not things.
Yeah.
Or doing things right. So I think
that's just a language convention that makes it grammatically correct, because doing thing right doesn't make sense. You would change it to doing something right, then it would be balance out. But I don't think that was really part of his point. I think his point was I don't know actually, he might have been talking about morality or not, but to me this is these words like right and wrong, good and bad are subjective. So if someone uses the word good and then they use the word good again, to me they're using the same word with the same meaning. So I don't really, I mean, I don't know that much more about this person and why they've said this, but doing things right or doing the right thing to me is two different ways of saying the same thing.
Interesting. Gain knowledge wherever you should jump on the panel. Yeah, maybe come and sort of
explain yourself.
Explain the conundrum, or maybe sort of discuss the terms of it. Scientific method just making you all think. Yeah, it's a good question. Someone else throw us some philosophical questions, man. Old Hickory is talking about something with Pat J2. You made that session about improving it. Just pointing out earthquakes and tornadoes exist isn't significant. We are not living according to the Creator's wishes. So consequences. Well, I'm not so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. There's some theological stuff going on. Yeah, we're going to try and keep it philosophical for the evening, I think. Age Case Documentary said, information and accepted facts can be updated or changed at a later date. So doing the right thing in, say, the 1970s is not necessarily good in 2019. That's a good point. And doing the right thing, singular, in time, in a period, in like a fixed period of time, is not necessary. So that's a discrete kind of like framework. If you're saying things, then things plural means there's at least a consideration for another, well, at least two, at least one more sort of approach. So yeah, information and accepted facts can be updated or changed. Okay, so this I think also applies to the scientific method, if I can map that correctly. So doing the right thing, or doing the right things, doing the right thing. Yeah, it's a very big question. What is the right thing? Let's say the right thing is to.
Dan, let me say something.
Go on, try it, man. Try it.
So I see you.
I'm really trying that one. Yeah.
Bro, you were nearly there. But this is why I didn't say nothing. You were going perfectly fine. This is when I realized that you come to your limit. Yeah. You said that we'll define the right thing. Yeah. Now, I was going to say, and I was just waiting for you, and I was hoping that you might say it, and I think you probably would have if you'd have carried on thinking for a bit. What is before you can even attempt to define the right thing, you have to make certain assumptions. We all do. Yeah. Now, like somebody in the chat said, I think it was Evie or someone, is the right thing might, a certain particular behavior in one place is deemed to be good and correct, and another place is illegal and punishable, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you go about defining what is right? So we have to make some assumptions before we do that. If you base your sense of morality on the assumption that you know what is good and correct because you've been told by God and you know that it's true God, that's one way of doing it. But let's be honest, you have millions of different versions of that particular methodology of doing that. Yeah. So let me just clarify that again. So in order to define what is good or moral, you need to make certain assumptions. One type of assumption is that you know that you have a God, he exists, you know who he is, you believe that he can communicate with you, and what he told you is good, correct moral behavior is what is good, correct moral behavior. That's one way of doing it, and there's millions of different ones. Yeah. Another way of doing it is that you start from other assumptions that are not necessarily based on divine intervention, divine revelation.
Objective.
Yeah, so you might amongst a bunch of human beings in a given place say, look, let's start our morality from what's the thing that we care about most. We care about the pain and suffering, of human beings, for example. Yeah. So an atheist or a secularist or a humanist, quite often they would come up with a system which is based around minimizing the pain and suffering of human beings or even further living creatures. Now, these are two totally different types of moral bases. Now, the criticism you'd have against the religious people is quite simply that how do you know that the ones that you've been given are the true, in fact, best ones? And more to the point, if you personally didn't agree with one of them, like your instincts, your natural feelings, said, you know what, I don't think it's right to just kill gay people. I just don't think it's right. For example, what would you do then? Would you let your personal morality override your God-given morality, or would you stick to your God-given? Anyway, with the atheist one,
this is a good point. Okay, so
hang on. With the atheist one, the biggest criticism is your morality changes over time. As soon as science finds out more facts, as soon as philosophers come up with better ideas and more in tune with minimizing pain and suffering, you change your laws, you change your moralities, you change your thing. Me personally, I can see that I prefer the secular atheist basis because it is dynamic. There's no such thing as absolute anything as far as I can tell. There might be, but we can't never prove that. So we can't really operate on that basis. It's better to operate on a tentative, willing to change your mind according to evidence basis, even with morality. Anyway, that's me, but Dan, go ahead.
Interesting. That's quite well phrased. Big up to scientific method. Yeah, the chat is it's on fire, man. Big up the chat. There is Hassan Sabri's battling M Stacks in the chat. Seems Old Hickory agrees, I think, with what you just said. He concurred. You need to first determine what is right and wrong, and I think Lister was maybe making that argument as well. HK's documentary says, like this dude, in reference to Scientific Method. Big up to Scientific. Avi said, right thing usually is for a set scenario. So, for example, save an old woman or a baby. Right things, plural, maybe many actions to gain a positive outcome without a set scenario. This is an opinion. I agree. I think I agree with that. Things, plural. So many actions. So a singular action or one. So again, I think this is like, I don't know how you explain it. This is. I think this is time, isn't it? This is a matter of time. So, time imagined in a sort of snapshot sense, or in like a kind of linear, or maybe a circular kind of sense as well. But observing discrete events in time is impossible. That's why the scientific method is necessary, because we have to be able to make these repeat observations about the universe or our environments, etc., to test those observations and to make sure that the 20, 30, 40 scientists before didn't have, color blindness, or I don't know, whatever it was, whatever kind of, some kind of sensory.
That's exactly right.
Some kind of sensory, whatever it was, because, okay, you may be the best scientist in the world, but if you are unable to distinguish blue from red, then, or, green from mauve or something, then, yeah, how can you make accurate observations about a green or mauve or blue or red flower? It's so you need, so like, this is why you need this repeatability. So that has to take place in time, across space and time. So one person doing it in one individual isolated space, i.e. a laboratory somewhere in the world, okay, that's good, but that's the right thing, right? The scientific method is a kind of methodical, systematic approach to that individual solitary right thing. So say, okay, let's put that right thing in a framework and say, let's collectivize and kind of organize this system so it's repeated across time and space, and yeah, I suppose those observations necessarily can be made. And I mean, scientific method, I think you'd agree with this. It's important to make accurate observations. Would you agree?
Yep. Definitely.
And that's
when you say accurate, what do you mean measurable?
Accurate measurements, accurate observations and measurements. So
meaning something specific, that you could put a number with a, you could
be able to quantify it if
yeah,
necessary.
Quantify it, that somebody else can come along and say, yep, it's 57 centimeters, 0.6.
All right,
exactly.
all right, look at.
I'll tell you the importance of that. Hold on, as well. The importance of that is to say, okay, we need to put numbers on things so that if we can't put a number on something, then there's the possibility that thing is new or novel or at least worth consideration. I mean, and most things didn't have numbers, so.
All right, Dan, let me ask you a question to do with numbers. Let's see if you can answer my question.
Well, hold on. Let's try and stay on the tangent for a sec. If you can remember your question.
Yeah. It's a standard question.
So, if you've got... go on then. Take a pot.
Say you're on a train, right? There's 10 people on the train, and it's careering. You're going to die. Everyone on the train's going to die. You're one of the 10, right? The only way to save the people that's on the train is to steer it onto a sideline, yeah? But where there's 5 people working to repair the line. Mm-hmm. So 5 people will die to save 10 people. What do you do?
Wait, so say this again. Repeat.
So you're on a train, right?
Yeah.
It's the
out of
trolley. It's
control.
the trolley
They say the
problem.
driver had a heart attack. Yeah. The only person who knows how to control the train is you. You're one of 10 people. 10 people are going to die right now, right? You're thinking, do you know what? I'm going to steer it onto the side rail, yeah, where the train goes off into like sandbags or wherever, yeah, and we're saved. But a radio call comes through saying, before you do that, we need to clear the line. We need to get all the workers off the line that's working on the line. Guaranteed 5 of them will die if you make that move. If you switch the train from line A to line B, yeah, by your own hand, 5 people will definitely die that wouldn't have otherwise died.
Do you know what I do? I tell everybody in the cabin, and I say, "Hey, this is the situation. Either 10 die or 5 die. What do we do?" Vote
You haven't got
right
time.
now.
You have to make the decision in a split second.
It's on you.
In that case, after doing these thought experiments, what my instinct would be from not being actually in that situation.
So just answer it like this, Lister. What would be your initial inclination?
I would not want to be in control of other people's lives in that way.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant. What's the action you would take? Because what you're saying is you would just dilly-dally.
I'd probably just leave it and let us die.
Yeah, fair enough. That's it. Fair enough.
So like you're looking behind your shoulder, and there's like women and children and babies and newborns, and they're looking at you going, "You're the only one who can drive the train. Steer us to safety." But on the radio, they're saying, if you do that, we won't be able to clear the line in time. You know, we've got these guys out here in high-vis jackets with the little white hats on. Like 5 of them is going to get murked.
For me, I think it's about living with myself. Like, I'm not sure I would be able to live with myself after that if I'd survived it.
There's not an answer to that. Again, there's not really an answer to that problem in any sort of discrete sense, because all of those people, including the driver and including yourself as the agent in that thought experiment, have your own timelines. So, well, it depends on a number of things. But get back to that. But that's the problem that is, I think, being presented to self-driving cars and Google and the like, sort of are trying to sort of deal with that issue.
This is what I'm saying. When we're looking at morality, and we're saying we should do the less amount of harm and the less amount of damage and do what's the greater good.
Quantifying reality is very different. Very different.
Let me just say something quickly about what Kaan's scenario. That's a variation.
Sorry, morality.
What Kaan came up with was a classic variation, it was a variation of the classic trolley problem in philosophy. In the field of moral philosophy, there's the classic problem. What would you do? Would you switch the switch to kill 5 innocent workmen, or would you save 1 child? You know what I mean? There's so many different variations of it. It's a good one, but this is what I wanted to say is. You know the films, The Saw, yeah? I think I watched, when it first came out, I think I watched like the first 2 or the first 3. And being of this type of mindset and doing a degree in philosophy and being interested in this, it really, really was interesting to me. Do you know the whole story behind the Saw movies? There's like 8 of them now. You know the guy, the Jigsaw character himself, he was, I don't know, he was some sort of medical professional or whatever. He got fed up with his life. He tried to commit suicide. He tried to drive off a bridge and kill himself. He landed in the water, broke his legs or whatever, and then he started crawling to safety. And then it occurred to him, well, why am I crawling to safety? I just tried to kill myself. I should be crawling back into the water to kill myself more. And then you know, this kind of epiphany happened to him, intellectual epiphany, and he thought to himself, this is weird about human nature, that even when I've consciously, rationally, as a grown man in my 40s or 50s, decided to end my life, when I get myself in that situation and I halved it, it's not a case of changing my mind. My natural instincts took over, and my body started to try and survive. So he then started to explore this thing that he'd experienced by putting other people, studying out, and he had a lot of access to other people's personal lives, obviously being in the medical field. And so he wanted to start playing around with how do people behave in these types of situations? Let me just see.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And this is exactly what you did, Kaan. But you kept saying, you kept, but this, but that, and this is what Jigsaw was doing. He was exploring this philosophical concept of morality and survival and human instinct and rationality, and we can make decisions. We can decide.
But everyone's got a different answer. But I'm asking you personally. If you was on the train, right, would you sit down and not really volunteer yourself?
Bro, you know what? This is what I was going to say, yeah. You
and make out to everyone else that this is our fate.
Yeah, but Kaan, I know this already. Let me say, I was just about to say this when you asked this question. This is exactly what I was going to say anyway. Yeah, is that you asked Lister what he would do in that situation. Even Lister knows that he doesn't know what he would do in that situation. That's why I rate him. For when I put it to him that you just dilly-dally, you have to get to the point. You just dilly-dally. You know, you don't want to be in a situation. Fair enough, but you've only got a second to decide. So he admitted.
Shall I tell you what you would do in real life?
I'd probably end up.
Shall I tell you what you would do in real life?
Bro, we don't know. This is my
I'll
point.
tell you what you would do.
I'll tell you what you would do.
I'll tell you what you would do. You would kill the 5 people, but you know why?
I don't know.
You know why? Shall I tell you why? Right, here's the why. Because the people that are closer to you, looking you in your eye, having a human contact with, you will save them.
Yeah,
the ones that you don't see, the ones that you don't know,
of course.
You could turn a blind eye to.
Yeah, you're right.
You're projecting your own thoughts.
That's a good point, and maybe in the heat, in the moment, the majority of us would behave like that. Yeah, and that's just reality for you. You know, if we could sit back and plan it out, we'd say no. Obviously, 10 innocent people versus 5 innocent people. It just, it makes sense, and that's the sort of shit that Dan was saying. We could program our self-driving cars to incorporate that.
Kaan, let me change this scenario to make it clear that Kaan it's not really genuine to say that what we would do, because you can make a scenario that is equal to this, but a much more difficult scenario to be like, yeah, you would do this. So you've got a gun in your hand now, and you're a prisoner of war. Someone's got a gun to your head and is saying, you either kill these let's say
3 people in front of you.
Huh?
Either you shoot 3 people in front of you, or someone presses a button and 25 people die.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. All right, you'd still let 25 people die. You would not be able to shoot someone who's looking you in your eye, going, "Please, Lister, for the love of God." You won't be able to do it.
But wait, but hold on, wait. Wait.
Is this what makes us human? It's the connection that we share.
Yeah, but wait, who's the person who's asking me to do it? Who's the person who's asking you to shoot?
Japanese prison guard, World War II.
Okay, so he's giving you a gun.
Really? You're not even gonna say thanks, bitch?
But you know what? I tell you what, though.
Let's change it to you don't have to shoot 3 people. You've got to shoot a baby.
Yeah, but Kaan, I have to rate you though. One thing I found out, which is very important and might be useful to certain people, You know that if somebody ever pulls a gun on you or is in this position where it looks like they're gonna shoot you, apparently this is what psychologists and people say, They say that the best thing you can do if someone's about to shoot you is to look them in their eye, because when a living creature looks you in the eye as you're about to kill it, there's something that happens where it makes you realize the reality of the fact that you're the same. This could be you, in another. It could be that person with a gun in your face, in another situation. They say that apparently there's a certain percentage of people who just can't kill someone if they look them in the eye. You know, you've heard these stories of when it comes to executing someone, they have to make them turn their back and things like that. Do you understand? You know what I'm talking about, innit? Gang shootings, killings. They make people turn their back and this and that.
I'm pretty sure.
And if you just keep looking them in the eye.
I tell you, bro, there's a percentage of people who just can't do it. And you know what? I think that's true.
I reckon that's true. I think I prevented myself getting robbed by this guy was towering over me from behind. After I've walked past him, he sped up to catch up to me. I noticed his shadow from the street lights right on top of me. So I look round, he's right on top of me, towering over me like this over 6-foot guy. And instantly I'm just like, all right, mate. And he doesn't say anything. I'm like, mate, are you okay? And then I think because of me showing concern for him, he just walked away. He just turned around and walked back to his mates.
Or maybe he just heard your voice and felt, this guy just sounds so pathetic right now. I can't bring myself to harm him.
Big up Lister, big up your intuition, man. Yeah, man, big up. Big up to Ziryab.
Intuition gets you through a lot.
Big up Ziryab on the panel as well. Welcome.
Big up. Yeah. Still on the topic of philosophy. Yeah. Let me just drop this one out there for everyone to bite on, and it's going somewhere, so just run with it. Yeah. Does an iron bar contain the attribute of hardness?
Say that again.
Put another way, is an iron bar hard? Is an iron bar hard?
Is an iron bar hard?
It sounds so obvious that you don't want to answer.
Is water wet? Is water wet?
No. Don't go there. Don't go there. I want everyone's take on this, and it's going somewhere. So just run with it.
All right, Ziryab, let me answer this for you. I'll big up yourself, though. Respect, bro. And if I heard Ahmed there as well, respect Ahmed to you as well, bro.
Well, family.
Long time, actually.
Yeah, man. Big up, Ahmed.
Big up.
Yeah, Ziryab, this is the thing, is okay. So if you just said the sentence you said that an iron bar, a bar of iron, it has the property of hardness. We agreed because under normal atmospheric conditions and temperature, a bar of iron, and it would only be a bar if it's under those conditions, would be hard. Now, if you was to heat it up or put it in a different situation or a different planet with different gravity,
No, I'm not going there.
I'm not
going there.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
not going there. No, I'm not even going there. I'm not going there. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. I'm not going there. No, trust me. No, I'm not going there. I'm not saying.
Wait, I want to hear where this is going.
No, I'm not doing any of that. But yeah, you've given your answer. I hear that.
Right, who's gonna answer? Who's gonna answer? In order, yeah.
Let's hear where it's going.
No, it's cool. Yeah, go on, Lister. Go on.
I've just googled this because I just wanted to make sure that I was right. But
that's cheating, man. Come on.
But
yeah, that's
I
definitely
knew that
cheating. You failed
out
already.
of the metals, iron is a soft one.
Yeah. Iron's not hard.
So it's
an iron bar.
I mean,
an iron bar is hard.
Iron is hard,
a
man.
bit too deep.
An iron bar is hard.
You're not gonna bend an iron bar, are you?
No.
Guys, iron is hard. That's
yeah,
just
come
a
on.
fact.
Yeah,
come
obviously.
On, what's going on?
Yeah, obviously.
What do you mean you're not gonna bend an iron bar?
Soft thing, like
what do you mean?
You're not gonna bend.
Yes, you can.
Compared to let's say a diamond, it's soft.
No, but Lister, iron's been processed, and it's been through a process to make it into a bar. Therefore, it's hard. Iron in its natural state maybe won't be hard compared to anything like even gold.
Big up
you can't say it's hard.
Big up to Uri Geller, man, and his
Seiko
Geller. I say big up Uri Geller, man.
You see,
all right, yeah. So let's run with it, man. Iron bar's hard. Yeah.
This, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So obviously it is, but it's contingent upon you, isn't it? Like it's hard to you, but say to a gorilla, a 300-pound gorilla, yeah.
There's a guy who can bend frying pans. He can roll it up like.
He's not going to consider that iron bar. So the question is about like attributes and essence and whether things are essentially something or not.
Yeah, but you asked me the question, not to the gorilla, innit?
Yeah, no, it's true. But I'm saying because the point is, the wider point here is objectivity. You know, in the whole, we're talking about objectivity and we're talking about our scientific method and all of that. And the thing is, which I think, and this is some part of the conversation. If you look up the Ames demonstration in perception shows or kind of proves that essentially what we do is take input from the world around us and structure it or order it and make kind of guesses. Whilst we're doing that, so it happens so quickly that we're not even aware that we're doing that or we're going.
That's right, and we bring it to mostly a binary kind of like hard and soft, black and white. We have the habit of doing that as well.
So it's this question. It's not about So I mean, what do you think about that scientific, especially?
Yeah, put it in a spaceship and send it out into space outside the Earth's magnetic.
Sounds like he's been watching Airbender.
Big up Airbender.
This guy's questions, yeah. I kind of love them and I hate them. It's just like this is just weird. But the thing with this question, me personally, money creates wealth. Money creates wealth and poverty. It's inherent in both situations because of the agreement that human beings in civilized societies have about it. Obviously, there's certain places in this world that don't really have a concept of money. They operate without a currency. They operate based on natural bartering.
But you say natural bartering as though that's the default state. You know,
That is the default state.
No, the question is, what is money? What does he mean by money?
Yeah. If that's the question, then that's very simple. At the end of the day, exactly like I just said, the default state is bartering.
Money's a promissory note.
Yeah, but look, you got to remember, how money was invented, where it came from. Now, before there was any such concept as money, let's just talk about any one particular society that evolved thousands of years ago. So this is how it was. If you were in a situation where you grew some crops, next man next to you grew some different crops, next guy had chickens, next guy had cows, whatever. If you wanted something from anyone else, you could only get it from them if you had the thing that they wanted. Now, this is highly impractical. This is very inconvenient. If you want milk from the guy who's got a cow, you can't get it unless he wants your eggs. If he doesn't need eggs or he doesn't want eggs, you can't do business with him, even though you need his milk. So obviously, naturally, in every society in the world, people came up with a universal currency that could be substituted in place of any one of these things. And its value was defined according to something natural, rarity of gold or whatever. Before that, it was like gems and precious stones. But anyway, then it was coins and currency.
Surely there would have been the concept of a trader who collected all sorts of items.
Yeah.
So he would have then based, like, given...
Well, this is the marketplace, isn't it? First it was the bartering marketplace. Sorry?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, so first it was like the bartering marketplace, and obviously richer people, or people that were in a better position, or people that were smart with trading, would be in a position to do what Lister said. But then the natural progression is still that eventually you will have to nominate some universal currency to be substituted, and every single item will be valued accordingly and defined according to its value. And rarity is normally the biggest definition of value in terms of economics. So yeah, that's a very typical system that naturally evolved because of common sense, facts, and reality, and that's where money came from. Now,
this is definitely one theory. There are many competing theories with regards to money. Yeah. But this is why we need to define our terms. This is why we need to define what money entails.
Definitely doesn't end it.
Let me just say one more thing, Ziryab, 1 second, bro. Yeah, the thing I was going to say is in relation to this question of whether it causes wealth or poverty, the fact of the matter is when this system happened in all different places, as far as I can tell, it was because of necessity and common sense progress. Now, I don't think people really considered that actually eventually people would simply focus on just the money, because that would basically be the power to unlock all doors. Money became the key to every door. Obviously, as we live in the modern world, and we all can look each other in the eye as grown men in this world and know that a lot of money opens a lot of fucking doors. Yeah, and we can all admit that. Now, the fact of the matter is, I'm not sure that was something that was planned for or accounted for. That just happens to be a natural consequence of the situation.
All right, this is what I'm saying. That money doesn't. It's to do with what a society places. It's to do with value. That's what I'm saying. In short, money is to do with value. So at different points in time, different things were used. I definitely would contest bartering has always been the way, or has been like the natural way. I think we'll find different points in time where different things were used as as money. It's
as currency.
Yeah, you can say currency. Yeah, it definitely in the way. Yeah, that kind of fleshes it out. If you say currency, but it's about value, isn't it? It's about, and it's not even necessarily intrinsic value. It's just about the value that a particular society places on a substance.
Okay, so for example,
cool. But let's say for example, money is like the universal currency. So whether it be gold, orange juice, whatever commodity you're talking about can be transferred into money. Because money is easily hoarded or easily taken out of an economy, indirectly, money and the invention of money has led us into a debt-based economy whereby there are the most amount of poor people right now. And without money, we couldn't have never achieved this level of mass poverty, where if you look at the World Health Organization and all the illnesses and shit that's going on around the world right now, I say that money has led to that.
No, Kaan, you can't say that. I agreed with you.
Yeah, sorry. Can I just quickly just say to Dan, this is too boring for me. I'll come back later when they stopped. And then, yeah, just around half an hour. Let them talk it out. It's interesting, but boring though.
Are you giving us half an hour, Raj? Yeah, big man, Raj.
Yeah, half an hour.
Giving us
half an hour, whatever. However long.
Is that how long it takes for you to knock one out?
Yeah, no, it takes literally 30 seconds. I just did it now. Thanks, Kaan.
What, over the sound of my voice?
Yeah. You're very, 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 very camp.
I'm very alpha, innit? You like
very
that,
camp.
innit?
You sound like a woman, like a bitch.
You like that, don't
you?
you?
What? No, hold on. Can I say something?
Listen.
Hold on. You're dragging me into bad behavior.
When I'm talking, you listen, bitch.
Shut your mouth. I'm in good behavior.
You shut your mouth.
Shut
you
your
little
mouth.
Bastard.
I am in a good behavior today. You're now dragging me into the gutter. What are you doing? I said before,
I'm just messing about. I'm messing about.
Yeah, but don't do that today because I'm trying to be pious for a week.
Pious?
Yeah, it's a very religious time for Sikhs this week.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Well, I'm going to speak for the first time. I'm reaching out to my Pakistani brothers. I know I can't believe I'm even saying it, but there's a few things going on between Pakistan and India today and yesterday. So it's involving the Sikhs. So if people that I normally dislike want to jump on, I'll be civil with you for this time only. So later on, though, maybe 11:30, 12, Dan? Oh, it's 11:30 now. All right, so 12 o'clock-ish. What are you saying, Dan?
What you got planned for us?
Oh, it's actually an intellectual discussion about the partition of India and why yesterday was a very important day because India and Pakistan opened what's called a Kartarpur corridor, which meant that the Sikhs could go to Pakistan to visit one of their most holiest shrines without a visa. So it's quite
big
important.
Up Pakistan for that.
So yeah, I say big up Pakistan. I say big up Imran Khan for the
Raj,
first
you
time,
do know, that I wrote my dissertation for my degree on the conflict between Pakistan and India partition, and the specific point was focused around the importance of religion at the time of partition compared to now.
Because you're Kashmiri, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if you look at the two places of contention between India and Pakistan, like the two borders, Kashmir and Punjab make up the majority of the border, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Probably around 70%, and the rest, I think, is neighbouring with Gujarat and Rajasthan. And no offence to those guys, they're pussy-os. I'm only joking. But they're very passive people compared to the people up north. So, yeah, I mean, if you stay on it, then you can explain the intricacies of how the Punjab and Kashmir were kind of like cut up in a real kind of like negligent way by the white man, fascist way.
The thing is, I mean, look, this is the thing. Yeah, it's not something that I have a particular interest in. At the time I was doing my degree, I felt like I should explore my own past background and history. At that time, I was interested in it. I don't value it that much anymore. I haven't stayed interested in the topic, but I have to say, doing a proper thesis in it for my degree gave me some very good foundational understanding of the point you just made about.
Would you have ever thought that there would have been a visa-free kind of like travel between India and Pakistan?
No, but I mean, I would have thought it because I'm quite a positive-minded person, and I've always hoped for such things to eventually happen. It's a surprise because things haven't looked that good ever for a long, long time, or ever.
Yeah,
really.
I'll be
Ever,
honest
ever.
with you.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Since 47, it's never looked like there's been any positive
No.
movements.
So
it's always looked bad.
Well, what you have to understand before I go is like the Kartarpur Gurdwara, which is the resting place of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of Sikhism, and it's his birthday on Tuesday. That's why I'm very pious this week. And basically, in order to get there in the past to our most religious site, imagine trying to go to Mecca or somewhere, and it's right next to you. But in order to get there, because of the way the border was drawn up, it would take 100 miles to get there. And you'd need a visa, a passport, and stringent checks. Now, because of they built this corridor, it's only 3 miles, and you need no visa and pretty much very little kind of like, obstacles in your way to get there. So it's like a big deal for the Sikhs to be able to kind of move. You can actually walk, it's within walking distance now. Whereas before you'd have to go Lahore, and then from Lahore, you know where Lahore is, these guys aren't. And we don't mean Lahore.
Well, you mean from the Wagah border?
Yeah. So the Wagah border, you'd have to go to Lahore, and then from Lahore, you'd have to travel all the way to Kartarpur. Where in reality, now, because there's a border, there's a corridor there, you can literally walk it, and it takes around an hour. So yeah, I mean, to these guys that are not from the Indian subcontinent, they're not going to really understand the kind of importance of that. So yeah, I'll come back in around half an hour. If you look guys finish your conversation. When I mean boring, I mean intellectual. So don't take offense to it. Anyway, I'll be back soon.
Just quickly then, you see, on the topic of like perception, yeah. I'm gonna put forward like a scenario. So imagine for instance, let's say there's like 4 observers to a situation, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So observer A sees a police officer hitting a man on the street, yeah. So the first observer says, this is law and order in effect. Okay, using force to keep law and order, basically. The second observer sees that the law officer or the police officer has white skin and the assailant has, or the criminal, let's say, has black skin. Or you can reverse the roles. But let's go with that one. Then the third person sees. He came a little bit earlier than the first 2, and he sees that the criminal brandished a gun, and then the police officer hit him. And then the fourth observer sees he came a little bit earlier than all of them, and he sees, or he hears, I should say, the police officer saying, "Stay away from my wife," to the criminal. And so he's going to observe it in a totally different way.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Here's one for you. This is a real life story. A policeman caught 2 kids playing on a roof, and he went up there to stop them and get them down for their own safety. And one of the kids pulled out a gun on him, and the other kid shouted. Now the policeman said, "Give me the gun, kid," and the other kid shouted, "Let him have it." Yeah? Who said that?
I know that story.
Yeah.
Derek Bentley and Chris, what's his name? Yeah, I read that story, man. I know about that.
Yeah. So the kid shoots the cop, right? And the 2 kids get caught.
It's a true story, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's a true story, yeah. And
So what I'm getting at
the kid that shot is he's mentally impaired as well.
What I'm getting at is that all these different people is gonna kind of categorize the events that they see to pre-existing kind of. He's gonna assign a meaning to the observation, yeah, based off of pre-existing axioms.
Ziryab, you know what? Let me talk about this. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. Yeah, is that you can only ever the way that you interpret things or the way that you experience things is based upon your not presupposed, but your the word
Pre-existing.
Pre-existing, that's the word. Yeah, pre-existing experiences, pre-existing, prejudices, feelings, emotions, experiences, whatever axioms that you've come up with. Now, that is true, and that is an inescapable fact. Even down to the fact that when you teach a child anything, your language starts off by defining physical labels for things. There is no other way. You cannot start teaching children words like freedom or thought or sign up anything. And you can't teach the children words that don't correlate.
They can't understand abstract things.
Fucking hell, do you know what? I need you tonight, bro. Seriously, man.
I don't know, man. I'm just like...
You're on my wavelength.
My synapses are just firing. I don't know. I just ate some walnuts. Yeah. I think it could be that.
Bro, no, what is the word I'm looking for? You know the exact word every time, so that's good, man. I like that.
Yeah. Just eat some walnuts, man. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Anyway, yeah, so what I'm saying is, so even down to when you're teaching a child...
You probably ate some pistachios, Kaan. What are you talking about?
Why?
You can't afford walnuts. You can't afford walnuts.
But pistachios don't contain selenium. Why would they eat pistachios?
It's an offhand joke.
Has he been racist?
I have no idea. I'm not qualified to answer that question.
Anyway, skip that.
Is that a pre-existing axiom?
No, it's just you being a dick.
Yeah, but Ziryab,
not really, Ziryab, not really.
Yeah, but Ziryab, anyway, to the point, is that look, this thing of pre-existing axioms and perspectivism, I swear, this is such a hot topic in philosophy. I remember doing a module on this in philosophy in my degree, and I liked it a lot. The inescapable problem of perspectivism. This is how it's phrased in professional philosophy, and it is a good one. But again, what it comes down to is that we are products of a physical natural world. We are born into a physical natural environment. We start from a physical natural place, and so even as children, babies, we can only be like Kaan said, we can't be taught language with abstract concepts. We can only be taught even language by relatable physical constructs that are out there, tangible physical things in the first place. So it's inescapable. That problem is inescapable.
No, but hold on. We can be taught abstract things. We can be taught abstract things by
not first.
It can be. You can visually perform what you mean, if that makes any sense. Like, for example, if you was to teach someone what freedom means, you would perhaps show them what the opposite looks like. See what I mean?
No, you'd have to flesh it out a bit more.
Like, say for example, if you wanted to teach someone what freedom means, you would show them what the opposite looks like by taking away their freedom, perhaps. So you take away someone's freedom and you say basically, okay, freedom is opposite to what the hell's going on now. In other words,
how would the baby realize that he's been held under duress or against his own will? How would the baby know that? He doesn't have the ability to get up and walk out the door, does he? And even if he did, he didn't know where he's going.
No, but okay, but it's not a baby, innit? I mean, from time you're teaching.
No, I mean like a child, like a 4-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, if you hold someone against their will, I mean, a 4-year-old is not gonna not realize that you're doing that against their will.
Yeah.
Apart from like a disabled child, how often do you see a child rebelling in that way? Where they're, oh, let go of me, I want to go, I'm going. You don't see a child doing that, do you?
You could definitely teach a child that concept of freedom, a 4-year-old child, by using that method. Surely,
it would still be abstract, though.
Yeah, of course. That's his point, though, isn't it?
I suppose. But like, to what degree are they understanding it? That's the question.
It's very easy to understand. Like, so you'd literally put your kid on the sofa, I don't know, hold his hands behind his back, and be like, this is the opposite of freedom. Like, now go stand over there and do whatever you want, and he does whatever he wants. Now that's freedom.
Yeah, but you obviously ain't got children, so how do children know the word opposite?
A 4-year-old is going to know the word opposite. Come on.
No, you ain't got children either then, obviously.
I do. I'm trying to say...
But how old are they?
I've only got one. Don't say they. Don't scare me, bro.
All right. How old is it?
He's 8, bro. He's 8.
And he knows what opposite means now, yeah?
I don't know. Now you're worrying me now. Like, I'm like, hold on.
Well, I'm saying, But one sec, kids have got this weird habit, yeah, of making you think you actually taught them something. When you tell them something, they'll like give you all the noises and responses that you think, oh yeah, he's understanding me. And then they make a mistake and you're like, but wait a minute, I explained this shit to you. Because they pick up the habit, innit, of making you feel content with what you taught them and you just leave them alone then, innit? They're like, oh, if I want daddy to leave me alone, I'll just nod my head and go, yeah, daddy.
No, that's fair enough. I'm sure we did that as children ourselves.
Yeah,
But,
so to what extent did they understand what you're actually saying?
No,
They're
I
under the
agree.
impression,
Let me put it
they're
like
under
this,
the impression that they understand.
Let me put it like this. Is there such a thing as latent criminality, for example?
Yeah, obviously, because, you know.
Wait. What do you mean, obviously? Why is
Well,
there
there's
such a
people
thing
that want to
such
do. There's
as
people
latent
that want to do
criminality?
things. There's people that want to do things that we regard as criminal, but they're not
But you
doing
said,
it because.
hold on. You said do things which are criminal.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be at that point. That's no longer latent. That's actualized.
Good point. Good point.
That's why I said, is there such a thing as latent criminality, for example? And it just works just as well in any other example you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the kind of the central question in existentialist philosophy. Does existence precede essence, or does essence precede existence? Put
Go on.
another way.
Talk about that a little bit
another-
so I can get my head around it.
Yeah. Put another way, it's do we as creatures, as human beings, do we exist first and then perform acts or perform choices, right? Or are we kind of some type of essence that then acts?
Yes.
Oh, I would argue the second. I would argue that we
same.
are. Yeah, I would argue we're some type of essence and that then acts. Yes.
What do you mean
Be
by
inclined to lean in that direction?
What do you mean some type of essence?
Like your willpower, or your intention, or no.
No, I think what he means by that is like
drives the
certain,
action.
Yeah, like there's certain things about you naturally that weren't taught to you by nurture, basically.
That's
there are
right.
certain principles or codes or whatever that you just hold naturally. There's just certain things you wouldn't do regardless of, you know, the upbringing that you've had.
Yeah.
I would agree.
But
with
check it. What I was getting at is, look, if say for example, person A thieves or kind of robs a chocolate bar. Say a child robs a chocolate bar. Yeah. Are we going to say that child is a thief now?
No.
No.
Wait, but you guys would have to say that because that's a part of because remember, Kaan, you said that there is such a thing as latent criminality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but if you just let me finish.
go ahead.
I see what you're saying. Okay. I would say that yes, that child is being a criminal, whatever, blah blah blah. But no, I would say that child is not being a criminal because.
Would you say that child is a thief?
No.
You know, okay. You know what? If I can take back what I said, actually, I might have to take back what I said. Yes, I would say that child is a thief, and the reason
his intention was his though.
Yes, his intention was to steal, and I'll tell you why.
No, he just picked something up, and he didn't want to let it go.
But I would argue
he has got no concept of what is his and what is yours.
Remember, when you say, one sec.
Yo, big up to the viewers. Good conversation. We got Ahmed on the panel, Lister's on the panel, Kaan's on the panel, Old Hickory's here, Scientific Method, and Ziryab is also here. We're talking some quite deep philosophy this evening. Peace to the viewers. I am in the background. I'm just listening in for the moment. Big up.
When they do something that is that's a crime, basically.
To give the opposite scenario, you could say if this kid saw a ball and kicked it, does that make him a footballer?
Nah, that's not the same.
Why not?
Yeah,
Because there's more to being a footballer. There's more to being a footballer than just kicking a ball.
And there's more to being a
what
thief
if
than
that
just picking
child?
up a
Hold on a
chocolate
second.
bar.
What if that?
No,
child,
there ain't.
Yeah. What if
Yeah,
that
of
child
course there is.
doesn't? What if that child thieves at say age 7, and for the rest of their life they don't rob again ever? Is it still fair to call them a thief?
No.
No, I wouldn't call them a thief, but I would say what they done is thievery.
Yeah, but for us to identify him as a thief, we'd have to have
that's an
I
important
wouldn't attach
distinction.
the label on them.
No, wait. That's an important distinction because if you're saying that you're not going to call that person a thief, and you're saying that they've committed an act of thievery, then you're no longer attributing that essence to them. You're just saying that that person committed an act of thievery at that particular moment.
As soon as you commit one murder, you're a murderer.
And just to kind of wrap it up with what I was saying earlier,
unless it's manslaughter.
That means that if you're attributing that if you're given an attribute of thievery at a particular point in time, then you're saying that his existence preceded that his essence of being a latent criminal. You're saying that he existed and he chose to thieve and then he stopped thieving.
Yeah, but,
do you see what I'm saying?
What you're saying is right,
Wait,
but it's like Schrodinger's
just let
cat,
that
isn't
sink
it?
in for a sec.
No, but it's like Schrodinger's cat. It's true and it's not true at the same time until we can establish that it's true.
No. You're thinking too deeply on it. It's not like Schrodinger's cat because we've acknowledged that at the point that the person has stolen something, he is a thief. The question is, can we
committed an act of thievery.
Can we attribute the essence of thievery to that person?
No,
you can.
And let me add this final.
Hold on. Since it's okay, let me clarify this. I would argue that all human beings have the essence of all things, whether good or evil.
No.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on. However, it is up to us to either actualize it or not. What we choose what we're going to perform. So I would say that obviously that particular moment, that child knew that what he was doing was wrong. However, he chose to actualize it. Doesn't mean that he has to be labeled by it for the rest of his life. Just because.
Let me ask Ziryab one question. Ziryab, while we're talking on this, let's clarify one point. Is there any significance to it being a child? Like, could it just be an adult that stole, but on a one-off?
It can be an adult. I can even give you the example of homosexuality, for example.
Easy now.
What if you kiss a guy once? Does that make you gay?
I guess, yeah.
He'd have to look like a woman.
The point is, it's a bit more controversial. That's why I said it. But the point is, any
try
act.
Before you buy,
can we attribute an essence to the person who commits that act? Because remember, the central question here is: does existence precede essence, or does essence precede existence?
If a man kisses a man, knowing that it's a man and he's attracted to him and he kisses him, he's a homosexual. But if a woman does it, maybe not.
But what if he doesn't know and wants to try to see if he does find it attractive to kiss a guy?
The fact that you can, that's like me eating dog shit. If you can bring yourself to eat it, trust me, you must have liked it on some level.
I'm not sure, man.
No, I agree with him on that 100%. It's like, if you don't have the essence, I don't see. No, but hold on. I would say if you
sex
to eating dog shit.
I think
me seeing two guys kissing is equivalent to me eating dog shit to me anyway. It's that abhorrent. It's that repulsive.
As a matter of fact, if most men, if you was to ask them really and truly, would you rather eat dog shit or do some homosexual act? I think most of us would eat dog shit.
Yeah, I'll mix it with some Nutella,
I get that. So let's because this one's a bit charged, isn't it? Let's go back to thievery or its opposite of being charitable. Is it what I'm saying is it fair to attribute a title to a person or kind of an essence to a person and when I say until the moment they've died? Because I would argue
the thing is it's the intention behind the act.
I'm saying no.
It's the intention behind the act.
I'm saying it's only really gonna make sense when a person has died that you can say that this person was a thief or this person was charitable or whatever.
Yeah,
if they were compelled to steal, if there was a compulsion in them to steal, then they're a thief. 100%.
No, hold on.
I think you can
agree.
Classed as having every attribute that you've ever given out. So you are all of the things that you've ever done collectively.
100%.
I agree with Ziryab on this one. I don't think you can be labeled anything for eternity until
Ziryab hasn't stated his position as yet.
No. Okay. Well, the last point that he mentioned, I think you can only be labeled as something once you have died that thing. You know what I'm saying? Because then you've been consistent. As long as you could possibly change and do something else, then you can't really be labeled as such a thing. It's like if you was a bus driver for 10 years.
You're not an essentialist then. You're not an essentialist.
No, but it depends what you mean by essential. No, but it depends what you mean by
let me ask you a question. Ahmed, what's the difference between somebody who lies, like me and you will tell lies, innit? Normally, will lie, and a liar?
A liar does so consistently. He doesn't they don't feel any type of way about it. It's just what they do.
But me and you can lie, innit, on a daily basis. Like, we'll lie. Yeah. Even on trivial matters, like even for a joke, whatever it is, we're capable of lying, innit?
Yes.
But you're not a liar, innit?
No, because we might not do so consciously. It might be moments where we feel compelled or whatever, but we might not be doing so consciously like a liar would. A liar would just do so for the fuck of it.
What we're saying is that the liar's personality and their character is defined by the act of lying, whereas ours isn't. And we can still lie, but it doesn't define me as a person.
And generally a liar would be like gain from their lies, whereas someone who tells lies is usually like, I don't know, your wife says, "Do I look good in this?" and you don't really like the dress, but you say yes anyway.
No, I will gain from my lies. Like if you're walking in front of me and you dropped a £1 coin and you turned around and you said, "Oh, did I drop that or is it yours?" and I'll go, "No, it's mine," and you walk off, I would pick up the £1 coin and I gained from lying.
Would you lie in that situation?
I would lie just to test to see how stupid you are.
Do you know
but
what?
Then in the end, I would keep the £1 coin anyway. Just because once I tricked you, I can't tell you the truth after that, innit?
I found a tenner behind someone in a queue. Like it was literally where it would have been if they dropped it. So I tapped the guy in front of me and I was like, "Hey, did you drop your tenner?" And
I've done that as well.
He picked it up and he said no. But fortunately, he split it with me. He was like, "Have you got a £5?" And I'll split it with you. And I was like, "Fucking cunt."
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man.
Did you drop your tenner? No, and he still picked it up. That's not saying you're a pussy, bro. I'll take this tenner from you.
There's one question that gain knowledge.
That would be scuffs, mate.
Yo, Kaan, one sec. There's one question, gain knowledge, whatever is asked. I think he's heading off soon. Intelligence or wisdom? What's more important for a better world?
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wisdom.
So sorry, guys, I was doing something.
But
for
what's
a while,
the difference?
I was trying to listen. But
Ziryab,
I'm missing most of it.
What are the units of intelligence? What are the units of wisdom? How does wisdom relate to intelligence?
Yeah, is there like an IQ test for wisdom?
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
No, there's not.
So what is how would we define wisdom then? Wisdom would be
wisdom is a more kind of loose term. IQ is not particularly specific either. See, the thing is, but maybe from the kind of mentality I'm from, when we speak
scientific, does IQ measure intelligence or does it measure extreme unintelligence?
Extreme.
I think it measures a particular definition of a particular type of definition of intelligence.
Who wants to do a live online wise test? It's 6 questions.
Wow. Go on then.
We can all do it, I guess.
Yeah, we can all do it. It looks pretty simple.
You're literally Ralph's opposite at the moment. You're like he wants to do online IQ tests. You're doing wisdom.
Is he doing it? What, he's doing that now?
I don't know.
I challenged him to an IQ test once and he refused.
Yeah, but you know what this thing about IQ tests,
I might opt out of the wisdom one. I might think about it. I think that'd be wise.
No, you see, Dan, the thing is, that IQ versus wisdom, I mean, it's like wisdom is not a very well defined term.
Clearly defined. That's what I'm saying.
It's very loose.
Before taking any sort of test, I think it's worth kind of understanding the terms of the test. What is the test?
Right. So, by the way, this test will take like 2 minutes. By the way,
No,
so
no, but
when
you
we're
do know,
ready,
like this is another problem with the IQ test.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say about the IQ test and the way I phrased what I said to Ziryab is it's a good an IQ test is a good measure of a very particular definition of intelligence, i.e., cognitive ability. Now, me personally, I value that to some extent, but it's not what I value the most. Emotional intelligence, for example, for me, outweighs the benefits.
It's not true. IQ measures extreme unintelligence or intellectual disability. That's why if you score below 70, yeah, that's the takeaway. The takeaway is that you've got maladapted functioning, you've got impairments in key areas of functioning, whether that's social skills or self-care, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, but there's very good
so
reasons for that as well.
IQ doesn't actually measure intelligence; it measures extreme unintelligence.
No, but it does measure intelligence
Good
as well
point,
because it goes that's if you go below 100, that 100 is defined to be what they consider to be the average of a particular place or time or region. Now, if you're below that, you're deemed to be below average IQ. Above that, you're above average IQ. So it equally demonstrates people, like you said, unintelligent. As it does intelligent. So
No. Look, the mean is yeah, you're right. No, it is 100. But the standard deviation is about 15 points. So
yeah, but regardless of that, the point is that it goes both ways. You measure IQ tests are used to measure geniuses and distinguish between various genius levels, as well as disabilities and cognitive. Functional.
This is my point. The primary function of an IQ test is not to measure intelligence, but to measure extreme unintelligence.
No, but I said it's both, isn't it? But then I said it's both.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the primary function of an IQ test. It's not to measure.
Yeah, but Ziryab,
that's a misconception.
Can it measure both?
No, it can't. It can't measure extreme intelligence. What it measures is it's almost like a sift to measure out, as I said, maladaptive.
Yeah. I mean, if you're saying that the IQ tests are used socially in terms of socially by governments or by politicians or politics and policies, if you're saying that IQ tests can be used to distinguish, special needs people from your able-bodied members of society, then fair enough. I mean, that's a different point entirely. But I think what me and Kaan are saying is that in terms of what IQ tests can and also have been implemented for is the other side of things and distinguishing between genius levels of human beings as well.
Yo, Lister, James is saying to, if you can, wait there. I think people want to take the test in the chat. If you could.
So it's a real simple one. So it's basically on a scale of 1 to 5. How do you agree with each of the following sentences below? And there's six sentences. So then once you get your scale of 1 to 5, you add up the totals and then you work out how wise you are.
So what's the maximum?
Maximum. Oh, hold on. It's actually a bit more complicated about doing the maths for it. I've not actually looked at the answer yet, so because I don't want to bias myself. But it seems like you just do on a scale of 1 to 5, how far do you agree with each of the below? So the first one is, I enjoy being exposed to diverse viewpoints. You scale that 1 to 5. And then there's another one, I have a difficult time keeping friendships. Do you want to do it?
I think you can post it in the chat.
Okay.
So how does it work? If you score like what, 3, 4, I don't know what, like then you add it all up.
I checked the next sentence and it said add them all up and then take away numbers and then whichever sentences it was. But like I said, I don't want to read the answer because I don't want it to like, I don't know,
jeopardize the test. Yeah, of course. Big up to gain knowledge, whatever. Oh yeah, so maybe this will, just put it back tomorrow, man. I'll leave this stream up so you can check it out and yeah, we'll probably have answered your question.
I wanted to speak to Ziryab. I think I heard him say something about
links in the chat.
Existence precedes essence earlier.
Yeah. I was pointing that out there. I was kind of I was playing around with the panel.
So I guess you read a bit of Sartre, maybe.
Yeah. And Keycard and all that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So for me, I remember going through this when I done my degree. I must sound like such a fucking twat when I keep saying this, yeah. But we're talking philosophy, so this is where my...
No, it sounds like a fucking good degree you done, man. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, no, bro, trust me. When I was younger, all I can remember that the thing that infatuated me was just wondering about the nature of reality all the time as a youngster, as a teenager. That's all I used to be like obsessed with.
Did you come to the conclusion that reality is actually a hologram?
No, I haven't come to that conclusion. Remember we talked about that, innit? We did talk about that. So, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, no, so existence precedes essence. Yeah, I remember doing this in my degree, and it was fascinating. I love this topic as well. So the kind of discussion debate over history was do we exist, and then we have to work out or define our essence, meaning our purpose, or whatever. Or do we have an inherent purpose that's here, that's before we actually physically exist, maybe like from God or whatever, or other ideas as well. So that was kind of like the discussion in philosophy between certain philosophers. So it was the first one was essence precedes existence, meaning that there is some sort of essence that we are born with, and that's inherent in us and cannot be taken away or rubbed away, and we need to that is there first, and our existence comes after that. Like for example, a soul which exists forever, and then a physical then a physical body exists, but the physical soul will still always be there before and after. But then the other thing was essence.
Existence preceding essence.
That was essence precedes existence. But the way I personally, me as a naturalist or as an atheist or as somebody who, according to what I think science has shown us, I see it the other way, which is that existence precedes essence, meaning that we exist physically as an animal that's occurred out of the physical reality, and it's down to us now to work out or define our purpose.
Fair enough. Because I put it in the form of a question. I put it in the form of that question of, is there such a thing as latent criminality?
Yeah, I see what you mean there.
Yeah, it can work either way, innit? Like at the end of the day, maybe that's why not everybody has a purpose in life.
I mean, what Ziryab just said, that goes. Sorry, Kaan, 1 second. That thing that Ziryab just said, that goes more into like the nature nurture thing. But anyway, go ahead, Kaan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, obviously, not everybody has a destiny or a fate or a qadar or anything like that. Like some people just going through life and they never ever reach that level. So it does make sense. Like looking at the world through like at other people rather than just myself, I can see that it is possible that this destiny or this fate that I've got imagined for myself could just be my brain playing a trick on me, giving me a purpose, giving me a reason to live, that I just kind of like dreamt it up and then con myself into believing that it's real to give my life
let me tell you something, bro. I'm so glad you said that. Let me tell you something, and I'm not sure if you're ready for this, but bro, this is the next step for you anyway, is just consider to yourself, does it feel more comfortable to think that you do think? Or does it feel more comfortable to have to imagine that, there is no fucking logic to this all. I just happen to exist. The universe doesn't give a shit about me existing or any of us existing. We're here for a blip on the time frame. We're here for a blip, then we're gone. And you know what? By the large scale of things, it doesn't even matter. Nothing is even gonna know.
Yeah, but that's scary though.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Then we can do what you want, and there's no repercussion and no.
It doesn't mean you can do what you want. It doesn't mean you can do what you want. It only means that on the large scheme of things, it doesn't matter, which is the fact of it. But
if nothing that I do matters,
if that's the
then I
fact
can
of
rob, I can steal, I can kill, I can do what I want, innit?
No, because that's not the reason why you should do those things. The reasons not to do those things are irrelevant of the fact that it doesn't matter to the universe. The reason why you shouldn't do those things is because as a living, thinking, conscious being that can comprehend morality and pain and suffering because of your own empathy, you should know that you shouldn't inflict harm upon other living creatures. Yeah, that's not because the universe will care or won't care. That's irrelevant. That's the fact of the situation.
What if there's,
Yeah, that's like the Chinese concept of
benefit in it for me? No, but hold on. What if there's benefit in it for me? So if I can rob people and benefit from that, why should I not?
Because if you...
Oh, no, think about this for a second, scientific, especially given what you just said about existence preceding essence. So if there is no essential, if there's no essential kind of form, whatever you want to call it, a spook, a soul, whatever, yeah, then, and you just exist, what prevents you from kind of following your biological drives to their kind of logical conclusion?
Okay, first
like
of
you
all,
just said, benefiting yourself from using your faculties.
First of all, people who do think otherwise to me and believe in the soul and spirit and blah blah, there is no guarantee that they behave better or don't rob or steal or rape or murder.
That's what aboutism.
Okay. So it's not a valid thing to say that that's the reason I need that to not do those things. Yeah, because clearly people who do have that still do those things. Anyway, even if you ask me, yeah, why shouldn't I? Because I don't believe that the universe gives a shit about what happens on this planet ever.
Hold on, just before you go into that, just 1 second, just before you go into that, yeah, like, and just on the point that you just made, someone like Nietzsche would say that justice, yeah, obviously this is the other thing we need to get into as well, like, you know, these abstractions and what do they actually mean. So someone like Nietzsche would say that people use the word justice to rationalize their abuses of one another.
Okay, but so what? I don't see. Sorry, maybe I'm not getting it, but I don't see that connection to anything we're talking about.
It fits in with what he said. Because remember, this is what he's just proposed. He's saying, what prevents you, or what, like, why shouldn't I use what I have in order to benefit myself?
Yeah, and I tell you. So I said first of all that. It doesn't matter that having a belief in anything more than what I believe in is no guarantee that you'll behave any better or not do any of these things you're asking me about. But
that's not answering the question.
All right, but for me, for someone to ask me, why don't you rape or why don't you rob or why don't you hurt people, I simply only have to answer is that I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to have those things done to me, to my kids, or my sister, or my wife, or my mum. And that is the reason that's the only reason I need as a decent human being who's proud of my existence. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. That's the only reason I need.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. My specific question was: let's say I robbed a millionaire. He's got millions, so me taking a few millions ain't gonna cause him much hurt. So and obviously it will benefit me. So why is that wrong?
Right, because that's not your money, is it? You don't know what that guy had to go through for that money. He might have had to work his ass up. Why should you care? Bro, you don't have to care. No one says you have to care. But this is the reason why civilized societies make laws, and have polices.
So you're gonna threaten me then, basically. So there's nothing to do with morals. You're just gonna threaten me.
I'm telling you that the things you're saying are so base level, savage. That this is the reason why any civilized society would outlaw rape, robbery, and
I didn't even mention rape.
All right, all of the. I'm just saying generally. We're talking general philosophical points, but okay, what you said was theft or whatever. Yeah, this is why every civilized society on this planet has ever existed has outlawed these things. Yes, every civilized society that you refer to.
I hear you, but you haven't given me a reason. Why I'm doing this wrong. I have given
you a reason is because you should know better that if you had worked hard and for your money and your property and some little, I don't know, person decided that they wanted it because they didn't have it and you had it, okay, let's see how you behave.
One sec. On that point of working hard for it, this is also kind of out there. It's a contemporary point. The idea of billionaires, yeah? You know, the idea of billion. You can't work hard for $1 billion, like, or £1 billion.
But how do you know that?
I'm saying, I'm saying if you break it down and say, okay, so if I had to work hard in order to raise this, or can they
Bro,
get this
bro,
kind
hang
of
on a
money?
minute, hang on a minute.
One second. I'm saying,
Ziryab,
man. One second. The point I'm making here is that and this is, as I say, it's a so whilst a billionaire, if you broke down, I mean, for example, let's look at Jeff Bezos. Yeah, you can't tell me that he's worked hard for the money that he has.
But this is something totally different now, isn't it? So you might as well explain what it is you're trying to say here now.
I think scientific method.
No, but saying you can't rob a millionaire, it's like saying you can't rape a prostitute. It's still wrong, isn't it? It's still wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day.
Hold on. I think that's not a fair scenario. I think it would be a better scenario if you said a rapist.
No, actually, you know what? Yeah, he actually brought an interesting thing up. Let me cause some controversy here. Can a prostitute be raped?
No.
Only if you don't pay her.
The billionaire.
No, bro, you don't know what her rules or limits might be or boundaries might be. Of course, she could be raped. She might not be on call 24/7. She might have her time off.
Prostitute himself out.
Bro, come on, man. You don't have to think about it.
No, hold on. No, check this out. Wait, check this out. And this is too much. Okay, is a prostitute getting raped or is she getting robbed? If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we studied that one in my philosophy class as well, but they kicked me out for my answer.
He took it to the bottom. Yo, Old Hickory, are you there? Old Hickory, are you there?
Oh, man, smacked it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just lurking.
You're lurking,
actually,
man. Bro, it took you a while to remember the joke right, bro. It took you ages to remember the right joke.
One second, let's deal with this one. Is she getting raped or robbed? Seriously.
Both.
She's getting robbed.
Both.
Any thoughts on this, Old Hickory?
I don't want to touch this one.
Yeah.
Oh, look. The physicality of what's happening is rape, but the technicality of what's happening is that it's robbing. Because
the prostitute would say that she's robbing the guy.
What?
There's a lot of prostitutes that actually like the power that it gives them. Like they're literally taking money from a guy, like lots of money.
No. We're talking about someone who's not paying for it. So he's basically quote unquote raping her, but you know it could be considered robbery in her eyes.
Okay.
So
do you get this? Though he's saying you book yourself a little half hour, and then rather than pay, you just walk out.
Yeah,
and she's saying, "Hey, that's not the agreement. Yeah, I withdraw my consent. Therefore, that's rape."
Both, isn't it?
Oh, furthermore, let's make this interesting. Wait, check this out. Yeah, let's say exact same scenario that Kaan brought up. Some guy comes, agrees to a certain amount, fucks the shit out of her, and then tries to walk out. So let's say that woman then basically calls that rape, and you're the judge. Are you going to accept that claim? Is it rape, or would you say that nope, it's robbery, bitch? Stop lying.
Either way,
technically, my argument is this: you can eat in a restaurant, not like the food, and not pay in it, and walk out. Yeah, leave the meal half eaten and walk out. You can get a haircut. You can get a haircut, not like the haircut, and not pay. You can hire a prostitute, sleep with her, halfway through, get up and walk out, and not pay. And when the judge says to you, "Why didn't you pay?" you're saying, "Brother, it wasn't even touching the sides."
No,
what am I paying
though,
for? What?
Would that be rape? Seriously though, would that be rape? Could she really, take that guy down for rape?
If the prostitute withdrew consent, then yeah.
No, she didn't withdraw consent. The guy just basically didn't pay, so it was not part of the agreement.
Listen. I don't want to have to rely on real life experiences here, but
no, seriously, what do you guys think of this one, man?
I mean, I've not ever slept with a prostitute, but I don't think not paying her would be one of the best things to do, because she probably knows some fucking mean cunts.
I'm silly, man. They take the money first.
No, but seriously, is that rape or robbery, man? This is interesting.
This is a hypothetical question. Real life prostitutes take the money first, mate.
Oh, you know altogether too much about this topic, bro.
This is a hypothetical prostitute.
Yeah, no, for real. Bro, do you think that they'll be that easy? They must have systems in place to take care of fucking people that try that
all
shit.
right, let's imagine, because prostitution is I believe the oldest, one of the oldest professions. So, who created prostitution? Where did it come from?
They did.
Is the profession even protected by law for this to be?
It is in
certain places. Yeah,
in most places, in fact.
Yeah, we just call
Wait. That wouldn't tell that it's legal. Well, is it legal in this country?
Yeah,
we call them
it's
escorts
legal,
there.
but it's got very like stringent.
We
and
call them
specific
escorts here, man.
parameters. They got like you can have I don't know. I remember it's like
Yeah. So
brothels
see, this is what I'm saying. So it's officially you can't. I'm sure officially on the books you're not allowed to, and that's why it's about companionship or whatever, and that's why they call it what you just called it there.
Huh? No.
Yeah.
Innit?
No, he's right.
All right. So how did the original transactions go down?
Well, when the caveman then was picking up fucking.
I like it. I went straight back to the caves when the caveman then went.
Yeah, when the caveman was bringing back the nuts and berries and all that.
Wait. You know what's a better question?
so old.
You know what's a better question? What came first? The pimp slap or the?
No, I read a book of the original pimp. He's called Iceberg Slim.
Yeah,
we know about.
I know.
Nah, but he wasn't the original pimp.
Wait, hold on. What came first?
He wasn't the original pimp.
What came first, the pimp or the hoe?
Nah, man. Google
the hoe.
Listen, if you Google the original pimp, and I'm talking about and this has to be ancient. This has to be ancient. He's not the original pimp. Now, I think Iceberg Slim is from like the 60s. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah. No, he's like the 20s, I think.
Dan, to be honest, yeah, this is the sort of thing that if you look into anthropology, yeah, no one would know where the first, prostitution racket.
Transaction.
Well, we could find it.
There's no way you could know.
We could have a look. No. But I'm just trying to imagine.
If you're talking about the first known one, then obviously we'll find something.
All right, so let's check out. All right, so 2400 BCE are the earliest recorded mention of prostitution as an occupation. Big up to Hetero Sapien on the panel, by the way. Welcome, man.
Yes, Dan.
Big up, man. Yes, sorry, it's a slightly
Dan, is it streaming?
Yeah, we're streaming. Yeah, we're live. So
I'll put the link on the back chat, innit? Put the link on the back chat.
Yeah, give me a sec. 2400 BCE. They describe a temple brothel owned by Sumerian priests in the city of Uruk. This kakum.
Uruk, where's that? That must be Syria.
It would be the priests, isn't it?
This kakum or temple was dedicated to the goddess Ishtar and was the home of 3 grades of women.
Nice. 3
grades of women, yeah. Wait. All right. That's the history of prostitution in Wikipedia. All right. Well, we can go into this. Ancient Near East. In the region of Canaan, a significant portion of temple prostitutes were male. This was also widely practiced in Sardinia and in some of the Phoenician cultures, especially in honor of the goddess Ashtart.
Sounds like a regional version of that, Ishtar. You know what came to mind when you said that, when you mentioned Sardinia, the Eleusinian mysteries, Carl. I'm sure there was, like oracles and the whole, like, they were basically, you know what, this is deep, actually, because what springs to my mind is that the priests would use, like, oracles, like that, in
the film 300.
Yeah, well, but I was thinking more like, the primordial, what's that film, what's it called again? Minority Report. Except that those kind of oracles, like the modern day ones, back in the days, would probably be used and that. And I don't know, man. It's kind of, I don't know. Yeah. Mad.
But have you seen the film 300 when he goes to the old dude that live on the mountain?
Oh yeah.
What about Prince of Thieves? There's an oracle on that. A weird witch with a crazy eye.
No, but the one that Ziryab said was a bit weird because they actually they're floating in a tank of liquid.
Yeah, but you know it's not true though. Yeah? You know it's just stories. Yeah, you know it's literally just made up stories.
What's that? 300.
All of it. This Oracle business, man.
Robin Hood's not made up.
Wait. No, hold on a sec. No, wait. That what was mentioned earlier, yeah, about the priest. That's recorded history, though.
All right, hold on. So one of the original Greek pimps, was a guy called Solon, who instituted the first of Athens' brothels, or oikiskoi, in the 6th century BC. And with the earnings of this business, he built a temple dedicated to Aphrodite Pandemos, goddess of sexual pleasure. Procuring, however, was severely forbidden. In Cyprus and in Corinth, a type of religious prostitution was practiced where the temple counted more than 1,000 prostitutes, according to Strabo. Right, boy. Each specialized category had its proper name. So there were the Chamataipai, working outdoor, lie down, the Peripatetics, who met their customers while walking and then worked in their houses, and the Gephrides, who worked near the bridges. In the 6th century, Atenemo informs us that the price was 1 obole, a sixth of a drachma, and equivalent of an ordinary worker's day salary. The rare pictures describe that sex was performed on beds with covers and pillows. Blah blah blah. Male prostitution was also common in Greece. Adolescent boys usually practiced it. A reflection of the pederastic custom of the time. Mad thing. They talk about it in Greece. They talk about it in Rome, in India. They talk about it in Islam. I'll read out the Indian one. A tawaif was a courtesan who catered to the nobility of South Asia, particularly during the time of the Mughal Empire. These courtesans would dance, sing, recite poetry, and entertain their suitors at mehfils. Like the geisha culture in Japan, their main purpose was...
What were they called, Dan? Tawaif?
Tawaif, yeah, T-A-W...
What, like the word wife?
T-A-W-A-I-F, I don't know.
That's weird.
T-A-W-A-I-F, yeah. Yeah, courtesan. Like the geisha tradition in Japan, main purpose was to professionally entertain their guests. While sex was often incidental, it was not assured contractually. The most popular or high-class tawaifs would often pick and choose between the best of their suitors. They contributed to music, dance, theatre, film, and Urdu literary tradition. During the British East India Company's rule in India in the 18th and 19th centuries, it was fairly common for British soldiers to engage in inter-ethnic prostitution in India, where they would frequently visit local Indian Nauch dancers. As British females began arriving in British India in large numbers from the early to mid-19th century, it became increasingly uncommon for British soldiers to visit Indian prostitutes, and miscegenation was despised altogether after the events of the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Interesting. So basically, once the ladies got involved, that's when the lads were like, nah. None of this mixing, none of this mixing. we could mix, but none of this mixing, yeah. Alright, Muslims. In the 7th century, the Prophet Muhammad declared that prostitution is forbidden. In Islam, prostitution is considered a sin, and Abu Masud al-Ansari is attributed with saying, Allah's apostle forbade taking the price of a dog. So you can't sell a dog?
What?
Is that what it means?
Apparently not. Carry on.
Is that what it means?
I mean, that's what it seems so. But anyway, carry on.
No, I think it means you can't have sex for the price of a dog.
No, I think it said forbade taking the price of a dog.
Yeah. You
comma,
go on.
money earned from prostitution and the earnings of a soothsayer.
Oh yeah, because dogs were seen as like wild,
oracles,
savage
you
beasts.
can't-
Well, wild, yeah, but can you put a price on nature, really?
I think it was accepted in that mentality of that time and place that a dog was something that nobody would ever want. They didn't really use dogs for anything in their life. So
I'm sure they would use them as, I don't know, like with livestock or guard dogs.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I don't know. Then
100%.
doesn't make sense why he would say that, innit?
maybe because of the, you know, with today, if we see just as just an off the cuff response, but today we do animal breeding and all that. There's so many unwanted puppies and that. You know what I'm saying? So if there's an incentive,
No, but we're
breed
talking about
animals and
at that time. At that time, like obviously, in most places around the world, human beings had started domesticating dogs and making them, breeding them for specific purposes, thousands of different purposes, in fact.
So I mean, what is technically then? What is prostitution? Prostitution is the trade of the service of sex for money. Is that what it is? Is that how you define it? Okay, so sex is something that's, I mean, is sex a commodity? I don't know. When did it become? I mean, I suppose that it emerged as a commodity, but forbidding like putting a price on. Because I mean, yeah, how much is a dog worth? How much is a dog worth?
Why is it legal to massage someone?
Lister, did you ever have you ever had a dog? Did you grow up with a dog?
I've had a dog, yeah.
How much was your dog worth to you?
Don't know. If it was robbed, I would probably put up a wanted sign with a reward of however much I could afford. That's how much my dog would be worth to me.
Okay, so let's say that you bought a dog for £10, and then you're walking through a forest one day, and a fucking bear comes out of the woods, right, and starts to attack you, and that £10 dog goes straight for the bear's jugular, and
that's actually happened to me,
and paralyzes the dog in one fell kind of swoop, leap, or whatever. Is that dog really worth £10, or is that dog?
If I'd had that dog one day, that dog is still that dog's worth less than £10. If I've had that dog a month, I've had that dog a month, it's probably worth about like 100 quid.
He's talking about sentimental value.
2 years, it's probably worth a couple of grand.
You know, that's what I'm saying. You can't really put a price on it. Like you can't put
a price on it, Dan.
Yeah, but you said it'd be worth less if you just got the dog the same day. So if you paid a tenner,
right? A bear, Dan. So of course it's going to be worth less.
No, I'm saying that your dog kills the bear.
I'm going to buy my mauled dog for more than.
No, you got it the wrong way round. I said, well, you're walking. No,
Lister, man.
Lister, you missed the point. I said you're walking through a forest with your new dog, right? And the dog saves your life by attacking a bear.
Okay. Then he's like priceless.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. I was like, what? Why is it worth less? You're like, I was thinking, fucking hell, Lister, you're some cold-blooded capitalist, man.
No, but Dan,
I didn't buy that. I didn't buy that dog to go and kill a bear. I didn't fucking shitty dog.
Wait, hold on. What is it psychologically that drives a pet owner? Why does one become a pet owner?
All right, hold on. Are you willing to fight off the bear to save your dog? Value of it goes up in that case if you value your life more than the dog's, says Senora Del Rey. Good point. Yeah, good point.
There's no way. There's no way I'd be fighting off a bear from my newly bought £10 dog. I'd be like, mate, you're on your own.
I think you shouldn't be a pet owner, mate. It seems like you'd get into it for the wrong reasons.
You don't...
Hold on. What about spending all your savings to save
Scientific
your dog?
method likes to feed his dog with his mouth.
wait, hold on. What about if you had to spend? What about if you had to spend all your savings to save your dog? Would you do it?
Nah, man. I've got kids to feed.
Speaking of the dog owners,
you do realise there was a point where your dogs were a part of your kids being fed. So going back to like when we lived, as an agricultural sort of society, like your dogs ensured that wolves didn't come and get your sheep, for example, and wouldn't, encroach on areas that you.
Yeah, but I'd be breeding dogs then, wouldn't I? So I wouldn't need to spend all my life saving one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about?
Yeah, but hold on. You're breeding them. So you're creating a lineage of dogs. So you pick. You're picking. This is where humans are cool because humans manipulate nature. You're selecting favorable genetic traits that you observe in nature, i.e., that dog's quite good at keeping the sheep in line. All right, cool. Right, so I'm going to find another dog.
Yeah, but that's not a pet though.
Yeah, but what's a pet? We don't. A pet is. This is what I'm saying. In this modern kind of, as we became more industrialized.
Other than, I don't know.
What do you need a dog for? Maybe if you go out and you're working in a factory, what's your dog doing? Your dog is like maybe guarding your house, maybe taking a shit on your sofa, maybe. I don't know. So like dogs.
So why do people own pets then?
Well, because they like companionship.
Companionship. Protection. I know.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Companion. All right, let's really deal with this companionship. How does a dog become your companion?
There's so many old people
through nature. How does a dog? What do you mean?
You never. I didn't know about this. Where have you grown up?
This again goes back to this. This is basic anthropology. At some point, there was a dog. There was a wolf. Sorry, that came in contact with humans, and something happened between that dog and that human, and basically the wolf and the human, like that first interaction. Don't get me wrong, that like most humans probably realize that when wolves come around, you need a stick. So you need to beat back whatever wolves are there with a stick. Yeah, if you're out in nature, the sun's gone down, the wolves are starting to howl, and all of a sudden you hear that familiar like pattering of like, footsteps and whatever else, and the wolf's upon you. So you turn around and you box the wolf on the nose, and that wolf runs off. And maybe that wolf remembers your scent and tracks you for a couple more days, yeah, and tries it again, and you box it on the nose again, and it still carries on for a couple more. This might have been like the generative like kind of contact between like wolf and so the wolf is like, and this maybe goes back to the whole immovable object and the unstoppable force, right? So listen, the man is the unstoppable force, the wolf is the unmovable object. So the wolf wants to make contact with the man, right? And the man is going to use his stick, the unstoppable force, to beat this wolf in its nose every time that the wolf tries to come, right? So cool, all right. Yeah, they hunt in packs, so what? They hunt in packs, but there's an alpha, so you lick the alpha on his nose, and then the rest of them just run off. That's it.
No, Dan, it weren't like that.
What are you talking about? No, I haven't finished the point. So listen, at some point, that wolf comes back around and realizes, all right, listen, it's insanity to do this over and over again. My nose is fucked, yeah. I can't smell anymore. My every time he's tried, basically every single time he's tried to like go for the man has ruined the one thing that allows him to keep sensing the man. The analogy like works.
I can only assume you've run out of drugs, Dan.
It's not about that. What are you talking about? I don't think you're thinking.
Listen, man.
I've not got anything mixed up at all. Listen, at some point, the wolf. No, listen to what I'm saying. At some point. Okay. I haven't finished my point. At some point, this wolf realizes that it's fighting against something that isn't going to stop, right? And the wolf isn't going to stop either, but there needs to be some new, like, outcome, right? So I believe at some point, that wolf realized, all right, I'm not going to get licked on my nose again, because then I'm not going to be able to track anything anymore. So I'm just going to roll with this guy, and I'm going to chill with him, and I'm going to respect that stick, because that stick is the one thing that's basically keeping me alive. Like if that stick comes down on my nose one more time, then I can't smell anything and I can't hunt anymore and I'm dead in this environment.
If that's what you're saying is true.
So I need to roll with a man and his stick. And it's just an example, but it does work.
No, is it your theory?
No, it doesn't. Because when the man and the stick ain't there, that wolf would eat his babies and then run off.
Yeah, so why do you think the man carries a stick? Let's say that's already happened.
Hold on. I think I know.
Listen, how many humans were there? Listen, let's imagine there was a point where there was 100 humans. How many wolves were there? Do you think all of those humans? But listen, we wouldn't be here if all of those humans didn't have sticks. You don't really. This is why big up Shahid. Yeah, respect the sticks, bruv. Just respect the sticks, bruv. Respect your environment and respect the sticks, bruv. Because
it ain't even that. Have you never had the dog? Have you ever had a dog?
Bruv, I'm talking about where we got dogs from. I'm saying, have you ever had a wolf? No, but have you ever had a wolf?
Let me tell you something, yeah. The stick don't do nothing. It's about the food, right?
Yeah, because
if the man and his companions are out hunting and they catch a deer and they're roasting up that deer.
Yeah, but listen,
and they got a little campfire going, and the wolf smells the food, right? And he comes close. He can't come too close because the fire is obviously creating light, innit? So he has to lurk in the shadows.
Bruv, however
And
it was.
the man sees him, and they dash him a bit of food. Yeah? That wolf then realised, wait a minute, I don't need to attack my man.
Bruv, you're right. Yeah, you're
and
right.
Eat the food.
Cool, so bad respect.
What
Yeah,
I
all
need
right.
to do
So
is
cool.
befriend this guy who brings the food on a daily basis.
Do you know?
All
do you
right.
know what it-
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay,
Listen, that's
look-
another good theory. That is a. But this is the thing. None of this happened in like this. This happened across time and space. So in certain places, certain people got savaged by wolves. Look at the amount of people who dead off because they couldn't run.
They never fed the wolf.
They didn't feed the wolf or
You
whatever.
must feed him.
Or they never carried their stick. One
Well,
of the two.
There was another way. There was the Game of Thrones way, where they captured wolves, put them in cages, bred them, and then when they bred them, they worked out that something like 1 in 10 were real like friendly. But then once they got the friendly ones, they started just breeding the friendly ones, and then that's how you got dogs, and then dog breeding. So all the angry wolves would have been for like protection or like wolf fighting or something, like for gambling purposes.
Yeah, that's similar to the Hungarian foxes. Have you heard about the experiment they've done in Hungary where they took wild foxes and they domesticated them by just keeping them tame? Have you heard that one?
No, but like the London foxes, I have them come real close to me when I'm delivering, as if.
No, but do you know what happened? Do you know what happened to them when they domesticated them?
No, tell me. I really want to hear about this.
They looked completely different. They lost certain attributes, like their ears wouldn't stick up; they'll stay flopped down. You know, like how they are when they're babies.
Yeah, so they're not alert.
No, so they would maintain some of their baby qualities throughout their adult life. They would never fully develop into full-on aggressive foxes. They would always be like, and they'll maintain their baby color. They would always be grey. They would never turn into a red color like an adult fox.
Domesticated Hungarian foxes.
Yo, big up to Sarah Sahara. She said, big up the guide dogs. You help the people. God gave each animal intelligence. Don't forget that. Bless up. Yeah, man. Big up the guide dogs, man. 100%. 100%. I mean, there's a number of possible outcomes. Like humans in nature, you know, they you know,
oh yeah, Dan, get some of this footage on in the background of these foxes. He's absolutely right what he's saying.
Yeah, go on, man.
Just put domesticated Hungarian foxes in YouTube.
Alright, man. Big up the people locked in as well. Domesticated, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it Verge Science? Is that the video?
There's just loads of them that come up.
Alright, cool.
There's cute foxes.
Let me get this running.
So you want a pet fox?
I got some Russian ones that are playing at the moment. These foxes have been domesticated for over.
You could almost say that a dog or a wolf, wherever, it can be an extension of you, the same way that tool is an extension of you when trained properly.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. You can definitely tell an owner who owns what dog in like a lineup of owners and dogs. People tend to go for dogs that look like them or complement them in some way.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, but dogs also, there's a degree of kind of submission to the will of the master, so they become what the master wills them to be and perform the duties that you kind of want.
Yeah, so if you're kind of lazy, the dog will be lazy. If you're real like energetic, the dog will be like
the
same.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
I bought a staff cross pit once, right? And I bought it from a puppy. It was like 8 weeks old. So I give the guy the money, and as I'm in the car driving away, he come up to me and he goes to me, "Be very careful, because these dogs are very alpha, and there will come a time when he will test you." And I go to him, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, when he gets big enough that he thinks he can take you out, right, he will go for you, so be ready." And I was like, wait a minute, I just drove all the way down here bought this dog off you, give you all the money, and just as I'm leaving, you're telling me this shit now. Right? But anyway, I was in love with the dog anyway, so I bought it. Mate, it didn't even take long. The dog was like 2 months old. Must have launched itself across the living room, coming straight at me. All I see is the mouth open like that, coming at my face. I just stepped back. I give him one Mike Tyson uppercut, bro. Bam, like that, yeah. Man dropped on his ass. He's looked at me and shook his head. Just went and lied in his bed. And he never tried it ever again.
I just wanted to say, big up to, in his absence, big up to Gain Knowledge wherever. Something's just hit me. So yeah, big up the people having brainwaves.
Orgasms.
Unmovable object.
Braingasms.
Right? Unmovable object and unstoppable force. The sperm and the egg.
What about it?
They are basically that, yeah.
No, actually, the egg is penetrable.
An egg is an unstoppable, an unmovable object, and a sperm is an unstoppable
force. It's a penetrable object.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a penetrable object.
It's very movable.
And it does very good at stopping that sperm as well.
It moves from the ovaries to the cervix or whatever.
Yeah, but
they're released all the time, innit? So it is moving.
But the sperm couldn't move it.
Yeah, but if some, all right,
yeah,
the sperm can't move it. That's the point. Yeah, the sperm can't move it.
But the ovaries did. The ovaries shot it out.
Yeah, but the ovaries are a part of. Yeah, but the egg and the ovaries are that's part of the same body, the same organism. So that is the unmovable object, and the unstoppable forces. And yeah, you said the sperm can penetrate. Well, that's the whole the penetration, that idea of masculinity being penetrative. That's what it does. It tries, but then femininity is that unmovable wall or whatever. But then you get a lot of energy. That's what I'm saying. You get a lot of tension and friction and whatever else, and then you get creation and some destruction, but you get creation. You see me? Yeah, man. A to Z. Big up the theories of everything, man. Whoever dropped that one, yeah, man, that was a good one. And just think about that, because listen, how many eggs are there? What came first, chicken? I mean, that's all right. That's cool. Eggs are always going to be there. Eggs are there, man. And yeah, I think seeds.
But Dan, do you know where the eggs come from, though?
Nature reproduces. Yeah, from the original.
Dan, where do they come from?
Why? You know where they come from.
No, listen. This is the crazy part. Women are born with their eggs already inside them.
Yeah, but creation.
So when you're breeding up a woman, really you're breeding her mum.
Boy.
What?
Listen, a woman is born with her eggs already inside her.
And a dad.
So when you're breeding up that woman, when you're penetrating that egg, that's just the egg that her mum passed to her, innit? So really, you're just breeding the mum, really.
No, it didn't pass to her. She gave her the.
They're born with their eggs inside them, bro.
No, it's like the spider, the fly in the spider in the what eats the spider?
Say that again.
You know the nursery rhyme. The spider eats the fly, and then something eats the spider, and then a dog eats that something.
Yeah.
And then a cow eats the dog or something.
Yeah.
It's just like that. You've got an egg and a baby in a womb
That's nothing like it. You're talking like Russian dolls, the little doll inside the little doll inside the little doll.
Yeah, but look. You do realize that God created creation with the ability to create within it. So creation creates creatures.
No, you're getting it wrong, Dan. Look at it the other way. Let's say my sperm was inherited from my dad.
For the sake of... Oh, no, but hold on. Let's just keep it on...
Listen,
we'll try and keep it...
Let's say my sperm, right, was inherited from my dad. I was born with my sperm, right, that come from my dad. When I had a baby, wouldn't the baby come out looking like my dad, though?
Yeah, that's another conversation. But no. I get what you're saying about Jeeds, and I get what you're saying about that. But for the point of the discussion earlier, I think I kind of understand that immovable object and the unstoppable force, because life is both of those things. It's an immovable object and an unstoppable force. A bit like the yin yang thing. So like, what happens when like, you know, the yin and yang meet? Well, they just sort of spin, and they keep spinning and they keep moving. And I suppose that energy is like life, or whatever you want to call it. The Eastern thinkers have their theories on it, I think. But yeah, I mean, like life, spirit, force, whatever you want to kind of imagine it. Energy. I mean, like they say, no energy is ever lost from a system. So if you try and imagine the point of like energy, the singularity at the Big Bang, that point of energy, fixed point, had to have had all of the potential energy for creation within it. Does that make sense? It has to. It had to. Otherwise, and big up Miller. Big up to, I think that's Uncle Omar. He said, "Big up the eggs." Yeah, man. Big up the eggs. Big up the sperm. Yeah, man. Big up creation, man. And yin and yang. And then out of that, you get life. I think. But you tell me. Who knows? I haven't got kids. God, what are you saying? Creation, yeah?
Creation.
Yeah, man. Big up.
Crucial.
Big up creation.
Donation.
Yeah, man. And that was the foundation. Yeah, man. Big up.
Hey, guys, I'm gonna jump off here. I gotta be up early.
We're gonna lock off. I think I'm gonna.
Peace out.
I'm gonna mix this one out. But big up to the panelists, man. It's been a good evening. We haven't actually discussed much of Speaker's Corner at all, unfortunately. Yeah, thanks to everyone who locked in. Big up to the Super Chat crew. Thank you to the panelists. Thanks to the chat. What were you going to say, Ahmed? Sorry?
I still don't understand how pets can be companions.
We'll get back. That might. Oh, this is the thing. Now I can end the show, and we've actually got topics for next time. So, pets as companions. We'll do some anthropological stuff. Yeah, big up to the viewers, man, and we'll be back very soon. I'm gonna have a little. I'm gonna have a think and get this schedule down, because I think people want some regularity. But I'll big up to Old Hickory. He's just dipped off. Peace to Scientific Method. Thanks for coming on, and for putting in some input. Big up to Ziryab Jamal, who's on the panel. Big up to Kaan for holding it down. Big up to Lister. Big up Ahmed. Objectivity, the new name. BuddaBing was also on the panel this evening. Who else? Land of Celts jumped on briefly, but I don't think he said anything. Mr. Amarrz was my first guest. Raj was on the panel. I think he was going to come back, but it may not be tonight. Sir Faz was also on the panel. Sid Bash was on the panel briefly. TYO, big up Ultra Funky as well. Yeah, man. Big up to Sarah Sahara. Big up Jen. Some tunes coming shortly. Ziryab just bigged you up before we're locking off.